All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. We have a lot of stuff happening. So apparently, late last night, the U.S. president said that they had a deal signed with China. Now there hasn't been any more updates on it yet, but we'll see if that's actually true. We have core PCE month over month is expected at 0.1% today. Is expected at core year over year is expected. I think it's expected at 2.6% year over year this morning. That's dropping today. Let's get some music going here. I just wanted to get these scrolling banners so we could actually take a look at it. Let me get the music going, and we'll start breaking down all the news that's come out. See, the NASDAQ with this China news is up to almost, depending on where you see all-time highs, we're pretty close. If we haven't already broken it, but yeah, that's basically where we are now. There we go. It says it's connected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm having a hard time turning these headphones on. Give me a second, chat. Yeah, but look at the Q up to 550s basically right now this morning. You should be able to hear the music though. Let me know if you can. What's up, Lee Pawn? See, I hear connected. I don't know what it's connecting to. PCE is Personal Consumption Expenditure Index. It is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. All right, I'm gonna have to delete these. What the heck was that? Was that my camera? Dude, my camera fell. You guys doing okay? Can y'all see that? Man, my camera fell. That was weird. It's supposed to stick to this. It's not supposed to fall like that, but I guess it did. All right, my camera just fell, guys. Damn. All right, we're gonna remove this from the speaker list. And I'm gonna have to pair these again. I'm trying to make sure these headphones aren't dead. I keep hearing connected, but it doesn't say it's connected. All right, but look at the NASDAQ. We're up to 275 or 22,755. It's kind of crazy. All right, well, we're just going to have to do our AirPods today, I guess. Yeah, PC comes out in about an hour and 13 minutes. What's up, chat? Yeah, it's Friday, guys. Here, I'm just gonna have to set up my AirPods because my computer's being weird this morning. All right. It's very strange. Like my Bluetooth speakers. Like I know y'all can hear the music still, but that's weird, man. Like my monitor's having a hard time connecting. But yeah, we'll see if we can break all-time highs. The NASDAQ all-time highs, if we take a look at the QQQ, like the QQQ all-time highs are really, we're over this now. We're at 546.22 as the previous all-time high. We're now at 548.55. Now, this only registers it if it breaks it after the opening bell. So it's a very relevant thing. I'm assuming you guys can hear an echo with the music like this. Do you hear an echo right now? Like my wife bought me a wired headphones. I think I just need to do that. There's no echo? Really? Okay. Honestly, I might just leave it like this then. But anyways, let's talk about it. So the president stated late yesterday that the U.S. and China have signed a trade agreement, though he provided no details. Commerce Secretary Lutnick also stated that the deal was signed and sealed earlier this week. This follows previous talks that the paused large tariff hikes, or previous talks that paused the big tariff hikes that they announced. The agreement it reportedly involves framework to implement the Geneva Agreement and expedite rare earth shipments to the U.S. The China's Minister of Commerce confirmed details that were further confirmed, and that China will review export control applications while the U.S. Will, quote, correspondingly cancel a series of restrictive measures. Some existing high tariffs, though, like the one on fentanyl, steel, and aluminum, remain, though. So there's still drama going on with that. See, I'm supposed to have a guest on the stream today, which is weird. Like, it's very strange how none of these are like none of my headphones for speakers are working this morning. Like on my Bluetooth, none of them. Very strange. But we'll figure it out. And yeah, despite the reported deal, which is causing markets, look at the NASDAQ just broke all-time highs or close to it. Now, if we look at this all-time high on this chart, this states the all-time high is right around 870. We are at 760s now in the NQ, 760s. So we'll see what happens here, but we're getting pretty freaking close to that all-time high as well. We've got a lot of levels on our charts. You can see the Q just broke all-time highs. And according to this, the Q is at all-time high levels as well. We have Apple at 202 still. And a lot of stuff happening today. So again, today we have the personal consumption expenditure, which is a key inflation gauge watched closely by the Federal Reserve. PCE is expected at 0.1%. Previously, it was 0.1%. And this is core PCE index. So this is the core PCE data, which is the most important one. Core is always the most important PCE inflation report. It drops today, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll get a timer up here. I'm still trying to get my headphones in, but it's all right. There's a timer, and we can put the timer up here. Yeah, but we have about an hour and 7 minutes left. Maybe an hour, 7 minutes, and like 30 seconds. So here is the timer. Put that right there. The deal will be signed anytime now, and it will send the market to the moon. Yeah, I mean, the market's already gapping up pretty significantly. If we look at bond yields here, bond yields are still pretty low, although they haven't really dipped a ton on this optimism. So bond yields still pretty low, but you can kind of see they're still down over the last few days. Put a 5-day chart up. You can kind of see the decreases that bond yields have made. They pushed up a little bit this morning, though. They're at 4.267%. If we take a look at rate cut odds here for July, and look at the NASDAQ break all-time highs. If we put up rate cut odds for July, we're at 20% right now. So this has gotten actually pushed back a little bit. But for September, we're at 72% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut after yesterday's negative GDP. And so we'll see what happens there as well. But yeah, bond yields, all that stuff, very interesting. Yeah, U.S. stocks clogged mostly higher yesterday as well, recovering from their springtime drop. S&P up, Dow up, NASDAQ up. Asian markets following the positive U.S. close are mostly trading higher today. Nvidia continues to rise, and of course, that's probably one of the biggest stories in markets right now. Nvidia at 156 broke all-time highs yesterday. It remains the most valuable company in the U.S. stock market. McCormick Spices company saw a 5.3% jump after reporting better than expected earnings. Solar stocks are rallying. Enphase went up 12.8%, almost 13% on reports that Congress is considering maintaining federal tax credit for residential rooftop solar installations. Copper prices pushed higher due to a surge in U.S. imports ahead of proposed tariffs. And yeah, a lot of stuff is up today. You know, we might break these all-time highs. We'll have to wait and see, but it's very possible we do. So we'll see. But we're getting very close. And yeah, PCE data. We'll put PCE data up a little bit more, but we'll put the expected numbers. But right now, month over month, core PCE expected at 0.1%. 0.1%. Nvidia will head up because under the U.S.-China deal, there will be ease on tech restrictions. Yeah, I believe that. Gotta get these headphones on, man. Yeah, when I turn it on, it says connected too, but for some reason it's just not. Yeah, I mean, negative GDP was bad, but I mean, people want rate cuts, so negative GDP might increase the odds of cuts. Yeah, that's what it is. Like negative GDP might actually make the probability of cuts higher, and that's kind of what people want, you know. Yeah, where's Bitcoin at? So Nasdaq's testing all-time highs. Let's see if we can find where Bitcoin's at. Bitcoin sitting at hit 108 850s, but not quite what we wanted here. Rate cut does not guarantee a Bitcoin pump. Yeah, that's true. I mean, look at the NASDAQ break highs again here. Partly this is due to Nvidia. I'm sure AMD's running some with us as well here. What's up, Wilfredo? Well, I'm gonna have to plug my actual. Regular headphones, and if no wireless ones are working. I think my wife bought me some wireless headphones, so I'm gonna go grab those. 15 billion in Bitcoin set to expire today. Amazon, so Amazon's moving up. Yeah, look at Nvidia. Nvidia at 156. Amazon at 220s almost. AMD at the 145s. Palantir at 145s as well. Microsoft at almost 5. Google still at 175. Yeah, we've been moving here. All right, guys, listen, we got 1 minute until the until 8:30. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab my wireless headphones. It might take me like 30 seconds. Give me a second. All right, we're back. All right, NASDAQ's giving a little dip. Maybe we could buy this dip. Let me see. So we got some wired headphones here. Let's switch the audio source. All right, there we go. We got this up. All right, now y'all probably can't hear it. I probably got to stop my screen here and reshare. Make sure you guys, it's not going to be too loud for you guys. Let me know if you can hear the music now. Let's check my audio. Yeah. Okay, yeah. We should be good now. But man, is it too loud? Let me know if it's too loud. We got to roll. I'm currently betting real low the market will come down. If it continues to go up, I lose very little. What goes up must come down. Not in markets. Music's loud? Okay, got you. Let me know if that's better. I turned it down a pretty significant amount. It's really loud. Is that better? Or should I turn it up some? Can't hear it now? Okay. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with my AirPods today. My bad, guys. We're here, though. We're doing this. Hey, we got an hour. An hour until PCE inflation data. We'll see what we get. It should be a fun day. Cheers to you guys. All right, well, I'm going to do a poll today. I don't think I've done one this morning yet. I'm going to do a poll this morning. Do we break, or no, does PCE inflation data come in higher or lower than the 0.1% month over month expected? Higher, lower, as expected. They're going to be the three options. Let me know what you guys think. Do we come higher or lower for PCE inflation data today? And this is going to have a big influence over rate cuts, a big influence over what we do today, a big influence over the stock market, you know, as the NASDAQ is pushing towards highs. Yeah, I got some people telling me the music's super loud, and then I got other people telling me it's not bad at all. And so it's hard for me to know what's legit. But hey, hit the live button next to the play button. Hit the like button. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. Hit the subscribe button. Looking at our polling, just the initial 50 plus votes we got in about 10 seconds. 42% think higher, 39% think lower, 18% think as expected. Yeah, as long as y'all can hear it. I want you guys to be able to hear the music, but I don't want it to be overpowering either. Hey, thank you, Towers, my guy. Thank you, brother. Okay, good. Appreciate it. Yeah, and so again, we're still looking at news. PCE data. We also have Michigan consumer sentiment data dropping at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today, which is big, important. So we got Michigan consumer sentiment. We got lots of stuff. And again, the markets are moving this morning. If you look right here at the bottom of the screen, U.S. and China deal signed allegedly. According to the U.S. president, he stated late Thursday that the U.S. and China have signed a trade agreement, though provided no details. But that's huge news, of course, for everybody. If a trade deal is done, that's good news. And NASDAQ continues to break all-time highs. Bitcoin down to 107.5 or so. If you take a look at the Q's breaking all-time highs this morning, or really what most people consider all-time highs. But we're up to 550 on the Q. Tesla, let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla is currently at 327.30s. 327.30s. And today is a huge PCA inflation release at 8:30. Yeah, I mean, GDP came in at negative 0.5% yesterday. If you guys remember, this was worse than the minus 0.2% expected. And this was the finalized version of GDP, really. It's not quite the final numbers, but it's close enough to say, hey, we're probably going to have negative 0.5% GDP for quarter one, 2025. Now, This is the first negative quarter we've seen in a while, GDP wise, and people are now, worried about economic weakness and arguing for more potential rate cuts. And as I said prior to GDP coming out, I think you could probably have argued a rate cut, a week or two ago during the Fed meeting and decision. I think you probably could have done a 25 basis point cut. Then I think we've had weak enough economic data to justify it, especially if you look at quarter one. And, but I'm okay with being really careful regarding inflation as well. So I'm somewhere in the middle with this stuff. Yeah, we're at basically all-time highs now, flying up. And this is a huge... No, this is not the second. We keep having people, like, I've had probably 5 people say, hey, this is the second negative GDP. No, it's not. Okay. We haven't even had the initial estimate for quarter 2 GDP yet. All right. Quarter 4 GDP 2024 was not negative. It was positive. It was like 2.8 or something like that. And so this is a negative GDP print. They're actually expecting the current quarter's GDP to be like, I don't know what they're expecting it to be, but it's over 2, I'm pretty sure, is what they're expecting it to be. So we'll see what happens. Tesla's sitting at 327. This is basically exactly where it was yesterday. Is this live or is this old? Yeah, I mean, Sean asks, is this live or is this old? This is old, bro. I'm just talking to you on an old stream because I knew you would ask this question. So I decided to put this question prematurely up on the screen because I knew you would ask this question. So cheers to Sean. So technically GDP isn't negative. What? Yes, GDP is negative. It's negative 0.5%. Really, I mean, at least the confirmed number is going to be close to that. At least the confirmed number is going to be something close to that, right? Now, in order for us to technically enter a recession here in the United States, look at the NASDAQ rip. In order for us to technically enter a recession in the U.S., we have to have 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters back to back, right? So we don't have that yet. We're not in a recession. This is not the second consecutive losing GDP. This is the first confirmed negative GDP, and this is for quarter 1 of 2025, so January through March. Now, for the current quarter, which is April through June, they're expecting what? And now the Atlanta Fed GDP is not the most accurate thing, right? Fed Now GDP currently thinks that we're at 3.4%. In the second quarter 2025, 3.4%. So non-negative. And you can kind of see some of these graphs here for GDP data coming in. Like if we look at some of this stuff. Correct, Justin. That's correct. So 2 quarters is negative. We've had 1. Correct. How will PCE inflation affect stocks? Well, I mean, I think universally right now, it's better to have low inflation, right? Regardless of how you look at it, it's probably better to have low inflation because lower inflation, if the market wants rate cuts, what opens more of a green door to cut rates? Low inflation does. Having lower inflation data and price stability gives the Fed more of a green light to cut rates, as well as when paired with like weak economic data like GDP. Yesterday came in at minus 0.5%. If we get low inflation data today, it might genuinely increase the odds of rate cuts next month in July. If we get low inflation data today, we might get a big pump, a big increase to the percentage chance that we're going to cut rates in July. And so Yeah, so today here, I'm going to put the banner up on screen showing you the expectations. Today, core PCE is expected at 0.1% month over month, 2.6% year over year. PCE is expected at regular PCE, or headline PCE is expected at 0.1% and 2.3% year over year. So okay. Here is that data right here. So you can see the PCE expectations at the bottom of the screen now, just if you want to watch it. But again, we're going to cover it faster. And markets reacted to GDP. They went down after GDP data came out. They ended up rebounding back up. But like if we take a look at the NASDAQ as an example here, right? Let me put a full screen chart up here. If we take a look at the NQ here, right? It's fun when GDP came out. GDP came out right here. So if we take a look at this, this is where GDP came out. So the market definitely reacted negatively to this. Like here's 8:30 market time. The market certainly reacted negatively to this. You know, we just ended up getting some good news at 10 o'clock that made the market go up. I think the good news was pending home sales was much stronger than expected, I think, is what happened yesterday. So yesterday we had pending home sales. It came in, it was expected at a negative 0.5%, like negative 0.5% for pending home sale data. Instead, it showed up at 1.8%. This propelled the market much higher pretty quickly here. You can kind of see we ended up rebounding and running off of that news. Sometimes the market's weird like that, where you don't know what's going to cause it to run. You don't know what's going to cause it to dip. It's just kind of weird like that. That's kind of how it goes sometimes, I think. Yeah, yesterday pending home sales just made a big bounce back up to market. Yeah, y'all slap that like button, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. Looking at our poll numbers out of a couple hundred votes now, 47% think higher, 28% think lower, 24% think as expected. Well, you got to understand it's quarter one GDP, you know. So I mean, I think the argument is going to be pending home sale data is more recent. Yeah, so GDP is backwards looking and pending home sales is forward looking, is what it is. So GDP is looking in the rearview mirror. It reflects economic activity from January, February, and March, and markets tend to discount old news, especially if there's an understanding of why it's peaked. Pending home sales is a leading indicator for the housing market, reflecting contracts signed in May that will close June, July. So a strong beat here suggests an improving trend towards crucial sector of the economy, which is real estate right now, and that's why pending home sales reacted more to it. But yeah, point is, we did react to GDP. Pending home sales was just good. We ended up ripping back up, and now we're flying high. And then again, late yesterday, the president announced the potential trade deal with China. You know, so again, late yesterday, the president announced that the U.S. and China have signed a trade agreement. He didn't provide any details, but Commerce Secretary Lutnick also stated that the deal was signed and sealed earlier this week. So it follows previous talks that paused large tariff hikes. It apparently involves a framework to implement the Geneva Agreement and expedite rare earth shipments to the United States. And China's Ministry of Commerce confirmed details with further confirmed in that they're going to review export control applications while the U.S. is correspondingly canceling a series of restrictive measures. So it's all good for everybody, basically, is what they're saying. And we'll see. The market's up big from this news. Again, I've said it once. I'll say it again. I tend to think they're going to get a freaking deal done. Like, here's the problem, right? This is what people don't understand, is that here's the issue. China's going to be like, nah, we don't need the U.S. Of course they need us, right? And of course we need them. I said this yesterday. I said it multiple times. Of course they do not want to lose their single buyer of U.S. goods. You can argue, oh, well, they're just going to swap out and go buy from somebody else. Maybe, but that's not as easy as you make it seem, right? Like finding another large trade partner like that compensates for what you're losing in terms of that is not an easy thing to do. And so acting like they don't care or anything like that is just, you got to look at it objectively. And I think people are very biased on this issue. And so with that said, I tend to think the markets are going to get a deal done. And something I've said for the last 2 months is that I tend to think markets are going to get a deal done. And I tend to think the markets are going to fly when they do. And here we are. So, yeah. Feels good to be right in this situation, I think. People acting like it's the end of the world, doom and gloom, markets are going to crash. Like, come on now, guys. PCE comes low today. PCE comes low. If PCE comes low, it's going to open up the door to potentially earlier rate cuts than expected. And that's what people want. People want earlier cuts. That's what it is. They want early cuts. What's up, Tobias? What's up, Justin, Enrico, all the other regulars that come here pretty regularly. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Yeah, SPY up huge amounts. What's up, B? Trey. Seasonality will bring the end of July and August crash, and then the TV will spew recession is coming. Maybe. I mean, I think it depends on obviously what, like, so next month's GDP is actually important, right? So like if you want to know whether we're entering a recession, next month's GDP, the GDP for July is incredibly important. Why? Because it's the initial estimate for quarter 2. Right now, we have the Atlanta Fed GDP thinking we're now at 3.8%. But if that initial estimate is down, like here's a nuance of something that happened. With hold on, let me make sure I'm right here before. I'm gonna have AI to confirm this. So I want to make sure. So yeah, so this is what happened with GDP for quarter 1. They initially had it at minus 0.3% for quarter 1, minus 0.3% for the initial estimate. The first revision, or the second estimate, whichever way you want to call it, they revised this up slightly, a slight improvement of minus 0.2%. And then yesterday, the final revision showed the U.S. economy decreased at 0.5%. And so it started off bad, got a little bit better, and then got worse, right? And so we're going to get that advanced estimate next month sometime. And it's an important thing. If you want to know whether we're entering a recession, I think that's an important thing. I don't think we are, personally. But you never freaking know. You never freaking know. Like, generally, they don't revise it that much from 2.83%, 3.8, or whatever they have it now, all the way down to a negative number. The Atlanta Fed GDP now is not the most accurate thing, but I don't think they're going to revise it down. So the point is, I don't think we're going to be in a recession, guys. Hey, thank you, Richard, my guy. Thanks so much, bro. What's up, William? Let me check out the poll. So yeah, people mostly voted on higher inflation. I disagree, but I don't know. Again, what do I know? Not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Yeah, I try here, man. I try to give people like an easy place to understand economics, trading, and markets. Other people try to do it, and a lot of people kind of copied us about covering economic data. Like there's but we cover it quickly and we explain it as well. And so you got a couple different inflation reports. You got CPI inflation, which is arguably the more watched retail inflation metric. But today's inflation report is what the Fed looks at, specifically core, which excludes food and energy prices. And the reason they exclude food and energy prices is because food and energy prices, they swing up and down big percentages. And so if you want to look at a more stable form of inflation metric, that's why you look at core PCE. But again, they're pretty similar. Like headline PCE, which includes food and energy, and core PCE, which excludes food and energy, are pretty close to the same amount. They both have 0.1% gain month over month, right, in prices. They both have a 0.1% expected gain in prices month over month. Their yearly number differs, their year over year, I should say, because it's different. Like they're comparing it to the same thing last year versus yearly, which would maybe imply 2025. So they're a little different there. Year over year means relative to the same time last year. But their year-over-year metric, core is expected at 2.6. Base headline is expected at 2.3% year-over-year. And so 2.3 and 2.6%. They're all pretty close to the Fed's 2% inflation target, which is why I think a lot of people are pushing for rate cuts. Hey, thank you, Enrique, my guy. Thanks so much, Steve. Yeah, I mean, we got a timer up here, chat. So if you look at the top of the screen, you can see a timer. We got 36 minutes left. Let's take a look at gold here, chat. So here's gold. Gold at 32.90s, dipping down. Gold looking weak this morning. Again, you can kind of see bond yields are up a little bit, which shows a higher interest rate sentiment short term. They haven't opened up yet, but I think the last time I looked, they were at 4.26% or something like that, 4.27. So I think bond yields are up a little bit this morning, which they parallel bond yields. Again, I'm going to go over this because I haven't really talked about it in a while. But there's a really important correlation if you want to understand finance with bonds and interest rates. Okay, the correlation is that bond yields and interest rates, especially mortgages, parallel each other. And so what I mean by that is that as yields go down, that means we have a lower interest rate sentiment. If yields go up, that means we have a higher interest rate sentiment. That's the first correlation. And so if you want to see where people are thinking in terms of interest rates, you can take a look at yields. And that's why we take a look at yields every morning. Currently yields, again, at 4.27. They haven't really opened up for TNX, but they're currently at 4.273%. What does that mean? Slightly higher interest rate sentiment overnight. But again, if we look at the month, much lower interest rate sentiment since June started. Here's where June started right here. And you can kind of see we are much lower interest rate sentiment since the start of June, which makes sense, right? We've had a lot more pushes for rate cuts, a lot weaker economic data. It makes sense that we're going to have a lower interest rate sentiment. Another important correlation to understand is the correlation between yields and bond prices, right? So these inverse each other. They do the opposite. So if bonds get sold off, yields rise on newly issued bonds, right? So if bonds go down, yields go up, and vice versa. If yields go up, bonds go down. If yields go down, bonds go up. Or it really is vice versa, but yeah. Yields and markets are a little different. It's harder to gauge that. If PCE comes in as expected, what do we expect from market? That's kind of a neutral reading, AD. So if they come in at 0.1%, that's kind of neutral. That's kind of flat, right? Like that's not really like a massive beat or miss. It's pretty much as expected at 0.1%. That's what they're expecting month over month for core and regular PCE today. So if we show that, it's pretty much flat. It's as expected. It's not like a crazy shocking thing, Yeah, the China deal is really what's dragging markets up this morning, right? So the China deal is really what it is. Um, so yeah, like the China deal is really what's propelling markets higher. You know, so the U.S. and China deal, again, let's talk about it. The president stated late yesterday that the U.S. and China yeah, so again, we're going to talk about this. But the president stated late Thursday that the U.S. and China have signed a trade agreement, though he didn't provide any details. Lutnick also stated the deal was signed and sealed earlier this week. The agreement involves framework to implement the Geneva Agreement and expedite rare earth shipments. And so that's going on. Yeah, so so again, trade deal was announced. Nvidia has been dragging the market higher again, and an interesting level. One of the big important levels that I'm watching, again, I've talked about this level many times, but I am definitely watching 867 or 870 right here. Really is what it is. I'm definitely watching like 870 right here. That is a level that I am watching very closely, just because I think it's very relevant right now. And again, you got to see we're pretty close to it. Like we are up there. Like it's still got a little ways to go, but yeah. We're still watching it today. All right, look at the NASDAQ still breaking all-time highs at 780s right now, chat. 780s as we speak. Yeah, it's definitely looking green, of course. I might start trading a little bit today, but you know, we're honestly up there a little bit too much for me. I need a dip down. I need to buy this dip. Do you guys think we pull back? Do you guys think we close over where we're at now? We're currently at 22,780 on the NASDAQ. The QQQ is currently really at all-time highs at 550 basically right now. Do you guys think we close over or under these levels? Let me know in chat. Put over if you think we close over these levels, under if you think we close under these levels. All right, so looking at the chat here, under, over, under. So most people think we pull back from where we are now. Pawn says, I wouldn't be surprised to see us test 23K today if data comes in slightly good. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Carol here, which says we'll know later on. However, expect a liquidity run if news is good for Bitcoin. Yeah, if inflation data comes in low, you know, we might expect some runs. All right, guys, we got 30 minutes left. 30 minutes left. NASDAQ still breaking highs, looking good. Yeah, Apple's been a little slow, man. I'm surprised it's not up more, to be honest here. Like, I'm really surprised it's not up more. So, yeah, gold is falling because, I mean, it makes more sense. Gold rises on instability and falls on stability, right? So what makes everything more stable? A deal with China. And so what is gold doing? It's falling. Not a shock. Pretty easy correlation to predict, I think, here. But the NASDAQ is up a lot. Again, Google's up. Nvidia is part of this rise. Nvidia is consistently breaking, you know, highs of the day and testing close to that 157 all-time high level. Again, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Today we got PCE inflation going live, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, live right here. So subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Markets are up a lot. Nvidia's been breaking all-time highs. McCormick had good earnings, or at least a positive reaction to earnings. Solar stocks are up. The president announced a trade deal with China, though he didn't provide any details. Lutnick confirmed it. It's supposed to involve a Geneva Agreement framework. And again, we did a post if you want to see a breakdown of all this stuff. There's also reports that Wall Street Journal suggesting president might name a nominee to replace Powell next year, which is unusually early. Could it be interpreted as by markets as an attempt to undermine the independence? So we also have Kashkari speaking right now. He said if the Fed cuts in September, if tariff effect shows up later, could pause rate cuts. Emphasis must be on actual inflation, real economic data without committing to an easing policy path in case tariff effects are delayed, according to the Fed's Kashkari. That's going on right now. He said official data so far reveals only modest impact of tariffs on prices, activity, and labor. More time is needed to undermine the effects of trade war going or delayed will be smaller than thought. Inflation boost is likely coming, but actual inflation indicates renewed progress towards 2%. What goes up must come down, not necessarily in stocks. This is a correlation I always try to tell people. Like, people always say what comes up must come down. That's not necessarily true. What comes up does not necessarily have to come back down in stocks. Sometimes it does. Depends on what it is. But if we're talking indexes, not necessarily the truth. Sometimes it does, of course, but not always, for sure. Just because something goes up does not necessarily mean it's coming back down. Just to clarify, it could, but it doesn't have to. If that makes sense. As for when this trade agreement is supposed to come out, I really don't know. Again, chat, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to see how many likes we have right now. We have 121, but we could do better than that. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Pretty sure we're in sub-only mode. Did we just add it? Stocks have always gone up over the years. What goes up comes down doesn't apply to stocks. Right, exactly. If we look at a long-term trend, stocks are going up. That's a profit here with this release coming out today. Yeah, it's not I don't necessarily blame you, Sam. Yeah, we got 25 minutes. Really, we got about 23 minutes left, to be honest. But all right, guys. So Kashkari's been speaking. Again, he expects 2 rate cuts in 2025, possible first cut in September. If Fed cuts in September and tariff effects show up later, could pause rate cuts afterwards. Official data reveals only modest impact of tariffs on prices. We already covered a lot of that, but still, we're still looking at it. Again, slap the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate the love. Rate cut in October or November. I hope we get one before then. Remember, last year we cut rates once in September, once in November, once in December for a full percentage point cut in 2024. Yeah, they're ambiguous intentionally, Kevin. I mean, that's how they always are. They don't want to give you too much to go off of because they understand how much it moves markets if they do, right? So they don't want to influence markets in either way is what I see by them. But you never freaking know. If we take a look at the rate cut odds now, $80-20 currently for a rate cut in July. So still at 20%, and 20% is not nothing, you know. But again, if we get low inflation data today, and then next week, I think we got payrolls. So next week we got payrolls and unemployment, another piece of this puzzle. And so with everything going on, a lot of stuff happening. All right, Chad, we got about 20 minutes left until the data shows up. 20 minutes here. Be ready until PCE inflation data. Yeah, I mean, next week we got a whole bunch of stuff, to be honest. So, like, next week we have Chicago PMI JOLTS, ISM manufacturing, non-farm employment, jobless claims, ISM services, trade deficit data, non-farm employment and payrolls on Thursday, and then Friday, markets closed for July 4th. So we got a whole bunch of stuff next week, too. But 20 minutes left, Chad, 20 minutes. Again, looking at our poll out of about 500 votes, 43% still think higher, 31% still think lower, 26% still think as expected. If rate cut odds are wildly off, the Fed will leak out what they're going to do. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we got JOLTS next week. JOLTS is big. The PCE inflation data is big today. We do finally have a pullback. I might try to attack this with small size. I haven't really traded much today. But, I mean, we got a large enough pullback for maybe me to attack some dip buys here into that previous support level. We are at all-time highs. We might add maybe up to 3 into this. I'm definitely going to cut it before the inflation data comes out, though. And we take 2 here. And maybe 3. I'm going to wait to add the third contract if we do. Yeah, look at Nvidia up here, man. Nvidia is still pretty close to all-time highs. And again, I have no idea what inflation data is going to do. As I always say here, chat, I am not an investment professional. I am not liable if you lose. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about anything, everything I say. Don't copy me. No idea what I'm talking about. But we're one of the most reliable people in terms of covering economic reports and data. And so if you appreciate that, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll see what we get. We're basically flat here on this trade so far. What is it? We get a bounce into this previous high up here. It's pretty isolated right there at 760s. But we could also drop a little bit more down to 760s. I did see some news that just came out. We'll add to this now. It says Iran is reportedly attempting to extract enriched uranium that is buried underground, according to one of the overseas channels. All right, chat. We got like 14 minutes left, or 17 minutes left or so. All right, guys. And again, be ready. 15 minutes. PCE inflation data going live very soon. I'm probably going to cut this. It's a pretty small trade so far, and I just don't want to let it get out of hand. I want to give it time to a bounce. That's a pretty small that's a pretty big candle. So we got a little dip here, but we still got 16 minutes until PCE data goes live, and so I just want to be very careful here. We're not down much though. We're gonna cut a piece of that there just to protect the trade. I don't want to lose too much or risk losing too much. And we do have a guest coming on our stream. We got Money Mitch coming on the stream today, guys, so just be ready. We'll have somebody else to talk about inflation data with this morning. Again, we got about exactly 15 minutes. I'm gonna see if we bounce real quick here, but we had a pretty good day yesterday trading, though. We actually made a good bit of money, but we just kind of keep falling here, so we're gonna wait and come back at a better time. Imagine the CPI is set at 9:30. It kind of feels the yeah. So I already saw the Kashkari news. All right, guys, we got about 1,000 people here. So again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We still got 15 minutes left before this data comes out. So we will see if we get anything good into CPI inflation data. $15 minutes, chat. 15 minutes. Again, 0.1% is what they're expecting for both month-over-month core and headline. 0.1%. Year-over-year, core is expected at 2.6. Headlines expected at 2.3%. 0.3% coming. I think if we show up at 0.3%, market's gonna panic. Market's gonna freak out, probably. You never know, but markets could probably freak out if we show up a couple percent higher than expected. Markets might freak out, panic. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't want that to happen necessarily. Like, I'd rather low inflation and a strong economy, regardless. Like, people get so biased on either side of the political spectrum here. So if they dislike the president, they want the market to go down. I've never wanted the market to go down ever. Not really. I don't care who's in power, who has office, who's the current administration is. I want the market to go up. There's a very famous quote from The Big Short talking about how bad it is when markets go down regardless. And so nobody should really want the market to crash. The only people that really do that I see are people who missed out on a lot of the bull runs, right? So if you miss out on the big move that just happened, you might want the market to come down so you can pretend you didn't miss out on anything. That it wasn't a real move or whatever. But generally, I tend to want the market to go higher, not lower. Regardless of whether I'm in the market or not. So, do you want the market to go high or low right now? Let me know. So we're looking at the NASDAQ right here. All right, guys, we got 12 minutes. 12 minutes. We're pulling into this support level at 750 on the NASDAQ. The Q is at 548. Nvidia is at 156, and the all-time highs are right here at 157 for Nvidia. So we're pretty close to all those numbers here. SPY hit new all-time highs earlier. That it did. All-time highs on the SPY currently 615 right now. Previous all-time high on the SPY was what? 613. So yeah, we are now at all-time highs roughly right at 614.50s technically. So SPY hitting all-time highs, the NASDAQ still dipping down some. Yeah, I mean, selling contracts can be one of those situations where, like, generally you'll make money selling contracts, except when you lose. And so the problem that I have selling contracts is that you might make money, lose all of it. So like the one contract you're wrong about, market, you're gonna, most option contracts expire worthless. But the risk is that when you're selling options, you make money, and then you could lose everything. So the risk reward's hard to gauge. Hey, thank you, T. Yeah, Mitch is coming on stream today, Tiny. He's coming on stream. I think he's going to come on after the economic reports, but he's coming on. All right, guys, we got 10 minutes exactly until the data shows up. 10 minutes. Yeah, we got PCE inflation data going live today. So just be ready, guys. We also have the Michigan consumer sentiment today as well. Market's still dipping down though, but we're pulling into that 750, which is a milestone level, like this level right here. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see the market bounce right here. It might not necessarily. Again, we got 9 minutes left until PCE data drops. 9 minutes, and so we got time. But what are your thoughts on the market pullback due soon? I mean, maybe the market pulls back. Maybe it keeps running. Why do you think what pullback is due? It might happen. I'm not disagreeing with you necessarily. I'm just saying, give me your argument for a pullback. Yeah, I mean, y'all might be right again. No, Nvidia's hit all-time highs. Nvidia hit all-time highs at 157 yesterday at the opening bell, or close to the opening bell. So Nvidia has hit all-time highs. Oh, you were asking, does the market pull back sooner, push higher? I think either one of them could happen. It depends a lot on economic reports coming out. So this week today we obviously we have PCE in 8 minutes. Next week we have JOLTS, payrolls, unemployment, jobless claims, ISM services, and manufacturing, and more. So I think a lot of it depends on what the labor market looks like and how that influences the economy. So here's that bounce right at 750, Chad. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to hold. We might reject at 760 for all I know. But, you know, there's the bounce at 750. Starting to creep back higher here. We got about 7 minutes left. My timer's a little early, by the way. But again, stick around. We cover all this stuff as soon as it drops live. Yep, right there at 750. Yeah, how's oil? Oil's still at 65. It's been at 65 for days and days now. So, yeah, oil's been basically stagnating at 65. It's been there for a week now. Yeah, so look at that bounce right at 750, chat. You're welcome. All right, we got 6.5 minutes. I hope PCE is lower than an interest rate cut. Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I mean, we get low PCE inflation depending on what it shows. It's definitely going to push the argument for a rate cut a little bit more, man. Look at that bounce right at 750. Sheesh, dude. I got to start buying some of my big milestone levels. It can't buy every support and resistance level I draw, but I got to start buying the big ones. Like I said, 750. All right, guys, 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Again, chat, about 5 minutes left. 750, man. Look at that. Now we're pushing up. Again, we got 5 minutes left. A little bit over 5 minutes, actually. We got about 5 minutes and like 20 seconds to be exact. But again, make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Also, you can put it in 2x speed. If you go to the sprocket settings, and you increase the speed of the stream to 2x, you'll never get delayed. All right, hit the live button and then put it in 2x speed. You'll never be delayed. You'll get the data as soon as it happens. Are we going to sell off today? I really don't know, man. I have no idea. Maybe we could. Data comes in high today, this morning. You know, it's not necessarily good if we get high inflation data today. So, still bouncing. We ripped at 750. We're getting close to all lifetime highs, or at least highs of the day on the NASDAQ. SPY's moving up. Nvidia here is at 156. And again, you can kind of see with the stability going on, gold is down today. Gold under 3,300 right now. But again, we got 4 minutes left basically until PCE inflation data goes live. 4 minutes. Again, guys, 4 minutes until PCE inflation. Hit the live button next to the play button. Hit the like button if you want to help support the channel. We appreciate it. But a big day. Gold crashed. Yeah, I mean, gold's going to go down with more stability in the U.S., so that's kind of how it goes. I kind of want to buy this little dip. Market could chop ahead of the data, though, is the only thing stopping me. All right, chat, 3.5 minutes. Really about 3 minutes. right, here we go. Give me your last bit of predictions, chat. High or low? High or low inflation? Do we get high or low inflation today? Let me know. I use the 200 exponential. I'm going to put it on the chart. Going to edit this. Make it 200. I like the 200 EMA. It's legit. But it's way down there, you know. All right, here we go. All right, chat. A couple minutes left. We're in a deflationary trend and trueflation. We'll see. At 0.1%, I'm leaving immediate to buy a new iPhone. Yeah, what's real inflation say? Depends on which one you look at. Low by 0.1%. Risk on low, as expected. 100% inflation. High, low. Yeah, I mean, we're getting multiple different answers here. Yeah, I mean, we got 1 minute and 30 seconds left, chat. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Oil decreasing. All right, here we go. 1 minute and 20. A minute and 10. We're going to do a full countdown. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on the stream. Put it in 2x speed, and you won't be really delayed. Fed said tariff inflation showed up, maybe to a certain extent. All right, guys, 45 seconds. $45 seconds here. 30 seconds. Here we go. This timer's a little bit early. Don't worry. It's not out yet. 15 seconds. 10. We got about 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's the data. All right, guys. So the PCE inflation data did show up. It showed up core PCE 2.7% higher than expected, 0.2% month over month, 2.7% year over year, higher than expected for core PCE. Again, 2.7% year over year, 0.2% month over month. Regular PCE showed as expected, but higher than expected for inflationary data, higher than expected. The market hasn't really reacted to this yet, but higher than expected inflation, 2.7% year over year, 2.7% year over year, and slightly higher than expected month over month as well at 0.2%. 0.2%. Regular PCE showed mostly as expected, but core showed up worse than expected, higher than expected. And again, I expect this to cause the market to drop. Pushes back rate cuts. Again, higher than expected. For both core readings were higher than expected at 2.7%, 2.7%. And definitely that's not good. Again, higher than expected, 2.7%. Year over year was a little bit better, but not good. So higher than expected or as expected. Definitely not good. What do you guys think about this data here? Again, higher than expected basically everywhere. And again, there's the market going down. Higher than expected almost everywhere. Yeah, core month over month showed up at 0.2%. So yeah, higher than expected everywhere. 2.7%. And there's the market decrease here. So the market is coming down. I wonder if we can get into maybe some good shorts available here. Again, I told you guys up here I thought the market would come down on this report. It was higher than expected. This is bad. It means we're going to push back odds of a rate cut far. So let me see if we have any immediate reaction to bond yields. So there's the SPY dipping down. Bond yields opened up higher. I assume they're going to go up some on this report as well, but you never know. But I'm assuming they're going to go up a little bit on this report, but you never know. So again, just to put this into perspective, higher inflation data here means less likely for rate cuts. Less likely for rate cuts. Because with higher prices, it closes the green doors a little bit more for rate cuts. Why? Because rate cuts, in order to have rate cuts, you need a low inflation environment. And that's not necessarily what we have if we have higher inflation. In order to justify earlier rate cuts, you need weaker economics and higher inflation, or in price stability and lower inflation, I mean. And so with that, that's not really what we see here. It's not really something that I'm seeing here. And yeah, it's something that you just want to be careful with because, again, this data kind of closes the green door for rate cuts, you know. And the Nasdaq's coming down here. We're under that 750 level now. Bond yields are actually going down some, which is interesting enough on this inflation data. Yeah, I mean, it's not terribly high. Like, you got to understand, the Fed wants 2%. We showed up at about 2.7% for core. So, I mean, we're close to 2%, but we're not there yet, and we still need some time to kind of make this work. And again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. Top Step gives you a 50K demo in futures. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. The base one's $50 a month. It's a beautiful way to learn day trading. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split. If you fail, you lose $50. It's not the end of the world. If you want to check out Top Step, you can see the link in the description. I'll put the link up here as well. Pin it to the top of the chat. But yeah, 2.3% year over year for headline PCE, 0.1% month over month for headline PCE. The core PCE was the bad one, though. Core PCE showed up 0.2% versus 0.1. Regular PCE or core year over year showed 2.7 versus 2.6, higher than last time, higher than expected. So that's the data that's a little scaring people. You know, we've had 0.1% expected for this month, and that's what we showed up at last month for core PCE month over month. So it was all higher than expected. It's one of the reasons I said I thought the market would react negatively. Because inflation data was worse, you know. And I'll put this up, like, I'll show you, we've been kind of shorting the market a little bit. We're very green on the day in this account, but we've been kind of shorting the market here into that 750 level. But if we push higher, we'll cut it. But again, yields are down. Honestly, gold is down some on this report. So sometimes, you know, gold is a conventional inflation hedge. And now we got Michigan consumer sentiment data. We're going to add to it, I guess. See if we retrace back down some. There we go. Gold is a conventional inflation hedge too, so it's an interesting report here. There we go. We're going to cut some in the profit here. But yeah, so inflation data again showed up. Yeah, so PCE inflation ticked higher. All right, so again, you gotta see we're pretty green on this trade. I'll go ahead and take a little bit more off here, but there we go. Take a little bit more off there. Take a little bit more off. We're using that 750 level as resistance. And we'll start cutting that over it. So we made some money on that trade. It was pretty good. Keep shorting, make your money, then talk facts. What? I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm short in day trading though, so yeah, Apple is disappointing this year for sure. You see, I knew it. You are shorting, so you are talking fear. I mean, Rolly, listen, brother, it's all love here, okay? But understand, what I'm saying is fact. Tell me something that I said that was not factual. Again, tell me something I said that's not factual. I'm pretty sure I didn't even give any opinions. I just said, hey, higher inflation data means the market's less likely to get earlier rate cuts. Okay, this is objectively true in economics. All right, you get higher inflation, it's less likely the Fed's going to cut interest rates or stimulate the economy, right? Objectively true. Objectively true. It's not my opinion. This is just economics, brother. Again, tell me something that I said that was wrong, and I'm open to talk about it. But unless you got something like that, you might just be emotional. I'm not saying I even agree with the data. I'm just covering the data, brother. It's all love. It's all love. Hey, what's up, Marino? Right, exactly, Ty. Bro, you think my stream's gonna influence the futures market, brother? We got a little bit under 2,000 people here, bro. We could all buy at the same time. Market's not moving, dude. People are just emotional. I think it's okay. But he's long. That's why he's upset. That's probably true. Again, I went long earlier. Don't come here and be all informational. I know, bro. What am I thinking? You're wrong because this will cause other datas to come in worse overall. In what regard? Hey, thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey said we can get all emotional in these markets. I appreciate you bringing unbiased news, though, brother. It's very helpful. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Again, I doubt I'll get a response because, it just means he's probably long and he doesn't like the data. I mean, listen, to be completely honest, I didn't think we'd have higher inflation today. I thought we'd have lower inflation and it would open the door for rate cuts and the market would push higher. But what you want to happen and what happens is different. I can't use confirmation bias to act like the market has to go up or act like it has to go down just because I want it to. And so it's all love here. But yeah. Yes, we've had PCE inflation data today. We also have the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment and Inflation Expectation Report going live at 10 o'clock today. It's a big report, chat. That's a big report. Let's see if we get Mitch in here now. All right, so look at that 750 level, rejecting the market, coming back down here. Let's end this poll. We're going to do another poll right now as we speak here. Do we rebound? Back up. What's a good? Give me some options for the poll today. What do you think I should ask the chat? Chat. What do you think I should ask? Again, at 10 a.m. we got the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment and Inflation Report. We got that going live today. It's an important report. Bro, you don't know you're the CEO of the stock market. Your streams are for insider info. Listen, I know, brother. Listen, that's what I'm here for. You know, I control the market. This is my market now, guys. All right. Let me get this banner out the way, and we'll put the actual data showed up. Again, the month-over-month data ain't good. I'm going to put the core data up because the core data is what came in higher than expected here. Personal income showed up at minus 0.4% as well versus 0.3% expected. But core year over year. This is the data that showed up here. And just to look at this here, chat, the current release for today. Let's break this current release down a little bit, huh? All right, so look at this big decrease. I told you I thought the market was coming down here at 773. All right, guys, so here's a summary of the PCE report. Personal income decreased 109.6 billion, 0.4%. This was mainly due to reductions in government social benefits and farm proprietors' income, partially offset by an increase in compensation. Disposable personal income, DPI, decreased by 125 billion by about 0.6%. Personal consumption expenditure decreased by about 29.3 billion, 0.1%. This decline was driven by reduced spending on goods, which was slightly offset by increased spending on services. PCE increased 0.1% from the previous month. And 2.3% on the year. Core increased 0.2% monthly and 2.7% on the year. Personal savings was 1 trillion with a personal savings rate of 4.5% in May. So that's the report. And again, we got this 200 exponential level at 22.7. I'm watching this level right now, to be specific. We get down here, I'm buying. We'll see if we do, though. We'll see if we do. Again, stick around. We're going to be day trading live at the opening bell today, guys. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be day trading live at the bell. And then we got the Michigan Consumer Sentiment and Inflation Report going live as well. All right, so let's see some options for the poll. How can you tell when big money is just sitting on the sideways or on the sidelines? The market's choppy. Isn't Michigan sentiment a medium impact news? Sometimes. Depends on what it says, to be honest. Do you think the E-mini will bounce off of the high of the year at 62.08? Maybe. With this kind of data, market should have dumped hard with the run up it had in the past 5 days. I mean, it did dump pretty hard. Honestly, we really didn't react to this data a super heavy amount. The problem right now is that I'm going to short into this little pop too. That's a big pop. I'm going to short into it and see if we can add some more up to 750s. But the problem is that we had the China deal announced this morning, which, you know, typically a big China deal like that is going to cause the market to run, as it did. I mean, we ended up breaking all-time highs a couple different times this morning. Nvidia, if you take a look at it, you know, Nvidia sitting up here at 155 is pretty close to all-time highs here as well. So Nvidia up to almost all-time highs. The market's up on the China trade deal announcement that came out late yesterday / early this morning. And ultimately, that's why the market's probably reacting a little bit less to this PCE inflation report. Probably, right? You don't know for sure, but it's probably why we're getting a little bit underwhelming reaction. And so, yeah. We're still incredibly green on the day. Yeah, 100%. And again, we're shorting on our Top Step challenge account here. You know, and again, if you want to learn to day trade, do not fund your own account tens of thousands of dollars. It genuinely just makes no sense to do so. Instead, try Top Step's funded account program. They give you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you $50K, 90% split. If you fail, you lose $50. It's literally the best of both worlds. You're still risking something, but it's a lot cheaper than risking 10, 20, 30 grand and losing that, like a lot of day traders end up doing, including how I did in the beginning. No PDT in futures. They've paid out hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm pretty sure. Fund thousands of traders. Just a great way to learn. And if you pass it, you can get started for really cheap. You get your own funded account, start taking withdrawals, and their new dashboard processes withdrawals and payouts very quickly, very quickly. But again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, but check them out. Great way to help support the channel. You can see the link pinned at the top of the chat and in the description as well. And we are short here. Let's see if we reject 750. I might add another 5 up there at 750. I mean, just to clarify, we are up 700 in this account on the day. So if we lose with this little 5 contracts, it's not going to matter too much here, to be honest. All right, so does the market break all-time highs today? NASDAQ, ES. That's the question I have for the poll. Does the market break all-time highs today? Ooh, look at this trade. Love to see it. I wish I maybe would have added a little bit more to it, but that's okay. We'll probably add here. Let's see if the rate cut odds changed here, chat. That's what I want to see. I want to see if the rate cut odds changed. So CME Group currently has the odds of a rate cut next month in July. 22%. So the odds of a rate cut in July went up on this report. Sometimes the market's just not sensical here. All right, so we're still up here. Let me get this little circle out the way. The good thing when I get a green trade like this is I can hold it break even if it tries to push up against me. This is into some support right here, so maybe I'll take half off there, just lock it in. Yields haven't moved too much. Powell will hike rates, not cut. Maybe. All right, we're down enough to take some profit here. I'm just trying to get in and out quickly with some profit. A couple contracts left. We can let this last one be a little bit loose, and maybe we'll hold this one break even if it doesn't work. We're coming back down some now. Okay. Cut a piece. We're up about 800 now on this account. Almost exactly 800. All right, now we're up over 800 in the account. Short trade worked really well. Based in the 750 is like a risk level here. A lot of resistance at 750. We'll put and switch back to our other one, which we're a little red on the day, but that's all right. There we go. Oh, hey, what's up, Mitch? How you doing, brother?
What's up? What's up? What's up, beginner trading family? What's up out there?
Hey, let me see if I can fix this. Hold on, we're a little small over there in the corner. Let me know if you can hear Mitch loud and clear.
Smalls, you're killing me, Smalls.
I know, bro. Look at this. We're tiny over here, honestly. Let me see if I can fix this.
Let's go.
That's better. Yeah. There we go. That's much better here. All right. So PCE, Mitch, came in higher than expected. Core for PCE, 0.2% month over month for core. Market's been breaking down since then. What do you think about the China news that we got with the president this morning?
Don't worry. There was a deal 2 days ago. It got signed. It got sealed.
Yep.
I don't know why it got sealed. Was there like a selected date?
Yeah. I think of the whenever I hear sealed, I think of Game of Thrones putting the stamp
I'm like,
on
what
it.
is this, man? Did we throw it in a bottle and throw it in the ocean, and then we're gonna wait for it to come back or something?
That's right, man. Honestly, I thought we'd get a deal done. I've been talking to the chat. I think China wants to get a deal done. I think the U.S. wants to get a deal done. I don't think either one of them wants to lose one of their biggest trade partners.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, wait. I'm also skeptical about the details of this deal, right?
Yeah.
Because last time we got the 90-day pause, some of the metrics in that were just not super good either. Like some of the they weren't the most favorable. It wasn't the best deal we could have made, I guess is the point.
Yeah, so the key here, guys, is all about the Trump put, right? I mean, everyone's been talking about it. As much as you want to, look on both sides, Trump got some weak hands here. And he was playing really strong arming people, right? Sure. And he went from strong arm to soft hands. And I think that we need to know that now. Why did he do that though? Because he knew that the markets were going to go down if he continued the strong arm mentality. Exactly. Right? And it was the bonds that really turned him, right? You guys could see the TLT, it was dropping fast. And when the bonds drop, money starts to get worried. And we're not talking about small money. We're talking about big money. Once big money started to turn, that's when Trump had his own turning point, right? Ever since then, what has happened? Well, a lot of talk of, hey, we're willing to make deals, right? Willing, right? Before it was, no, you need to follow what we say. Now he's adjusted that. Now on China, he's even made mentions in the last deal where we got the rare earths deal, right? It really wasn't a deal, but it was a collected kind of shift forward in the deal, right? Now, what was talked about then is very important. It was export controls. Export controls were being talked about of potentially being brought back down, right? Biden was the one that actually brought these up. So Trump has an ability here to say that Biden made a mistake, that we never done that in the first place. He's going to use that example to go ahead and pull off the export controls on certain chip making processes and certain chips in China. This is why I think we're starting to see a bigger run in some of these chip players, like you're seeing AVGO rip higher, and you're seeing these semiconductor equipment stocks. If you take a look at like a KLAC, and names like this has started to make a little bit bigger of a move. And there's a reason why, guys. There's a reason why these stocks are ripping higher. It's because there's going to be a shift here in what was expected to be those export controls and what they're seeing. So people are front running the deal with China, almost expecting a deal, right? Expected the deal here. And it's what? To benefit technology. And when did we also get some rhetoric? We got some rhetoric from Nvidia. Nvidia started talking about how, hey, US, you keep doing this, you're going to even destroy our business. But take a look at Nvidia now, going higher. There's a reason why, guys. And these are the times where you got to realize where things are going. And essentially, the market is already pricing in the China deal. Yes, you heard that right. It's already pricing it in. It feels like it's a finished deal. And at this point, with mentions like we're getting from Trump, and what did the stock market really do? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. There's a reason why. It's already being priced in, right? That's how we're getting back to all-time highs. The biggest concern was China. That's been put on the sideline. Now, yes, we know there's going to be a deal. Now it's all about the specifics, and stocks will react on the specifics when those come out. But for right now, it's just kind of a irrational exuberance that we're riding on, right? Take a look at some of the stocks that are moving now. We are in the straight dumpster fire type of mode. It's euphoria take all. Are you seeing some of these stocks move? I mean, take a look at the high flyers that we got yesterday with CYN, right? And then this morning, there's another high flyer, the absolute ripper. I don't know if you've been seeing this stock this morning, man. It's been absolutely crazy. What was it? I lost the ticker right now. I'm pull it up right now in a second.
Yeah, here. I know CYN had that deal with Nvidia a couple of days ago, so it's still running up on that deal. Do you think it's up too much? I guess is the question here for
So
CYM.
they actually raised money into this move.
Okay.
They did an
So they did an
intraday
offering.
market offering, and look at the stock going right back up.
Yeah,
right.
That's rare too. Offerings are dilution, just to clarify for everybody in the chat. So if something gets offered, that means they're selling shares, which means that they're diluting the float of the company, which typically makes the stock go down. But again, that's why Mitch is saying it's kind of contradictory to what you might think happens with the stock moving up. But again, a deal with Nvidia is good, and Nvidia has been breaking all-time highs. So interesting for sure.
Yeah, man. And I think that you got to start looking for these stocks to just get completely ridiculous. And that's what we're starting to see in certain names, right? Certain names are just ripping through the roof and going to continue to go. And that's what I'd be looking for, guys. This BGL is the one that's taking off right now. And this stock was trading at like $20 yesterday. This morning, 5 a.m. goes from nothing but opening at 24.50 at 4 a.m. and then making a run to 211. Yes, you heard that right.
BGL. Wait. So BGL 211. Where? When?
This morning, pre-market.
So I only show it. Toss might have a different chart. I'm showing 129s.
Here you go. Here you go. You can put up, if you want, you can throw up my chart.
I got you. Okay, here, hold on. Let me add it. Or wait, I got to remove mine. Add yours. There we go.
You see these wicks?
Yeah.
It went all the way up there to 211.
Oh, it's popping up there. The super low liquid, but still moving big for sure.
Super low liquidity. Not a name that you want to be using as a trading vehicle. It's what I would call to use as a trading proxy.
Gotcha.
So use this as a way to understand, is the momentum still on in the market? If you see this thing up like going to like 500, you know the euphoria is on, right? And that's what I'm going to be looking for. This thing has been trading as wide as like $6 this morning. And for traders to be trading it, I mean, you got to have risk on feeling to trade that, right? With a spread of $5-6, right? And so I'm not saying to trade BGL. I'm saying to keep it on your watch list, right? Keep it, see that continue to rip higher and watch for other names to play catch up. I always talk about leaders to laggards. So I'll really quickly give a couple of names this morning that don't look too bad. BBLG is one of these smaller names that's setting up here. I'm going to continue to watch it towards the open. We'll look. It looks good. It can rip higher, right? Yeah. A lot of times I'm looking at these on the 15 minutes to after their rip, come back to the 15.9 and then start to balance out there, right? Right below the VWAP. So what's a good thing to do? Not to get too excited until it gets past the VWAP again, right? So just keeping this on the radar, right? And then I'll be watching towards it at the open. We'll see if it wants to make the move. We might trade it right here, guys. We got a little bit of time here. You can maybe stick around right for the open here. I'm looking around to see what's out there, but we can go to anything, guys. I cover it all, guys. So you guys let me know what the chat wants to talk about. Maybe.
We got a donation here, so we got a $5 donation, and you could probably help look into this one a little bit more. What do you guys think of Netflix? Live sports has made me really optimistic for Netflix. I said this a couple months ago, but I think the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight was just a little preview of what Netflix is going to be doing in the future. There's been rumors of a UFC. You guys know I love MMA, jiu-jitsu, all that stuff. There's been rumors of a UFC Netflix deal. You know, Netflix is currently at 1300.
Let's just be honest. You don't bet against Netflix.
Right. It's growing too much. They're producing their own movies now. They've changed that landscape as a whole. And I would say they're the leader in streaming. And they have been for a long time. And now they're getting into live sports. And I think almost everybody in the US has a Netflix subscription. At least one person in the household has one. And so it's really something where if they start getting into live sports, if they start doing deals, like a lot of people are talking about the UFC and how Netflix might do a deal with the UFC, and then we might get either free pay-per-views, which wouldn't even be pay-per-views anymore for the UFC, or like deeply discounted pay-per-views on Netflix. As somebody that's been paying $80 a pay-per-view, I'm for it. But I also think Netflix is a little high right now, too. Like, I don't know if it's going to pull back.
That's the thing, you guys. And so you got to understand what environment you're in, right? So I know a lot of people are going to say, but Netflix is too high up. It's 1,300. It's at the top. It's at the highs. Mitch, how am I buying up here? Well, I'll tell you right now, do the study. look into the studies. This is where I think a lot of traders have a tendency of thinking about what has happened or worked in the past and historical instead of actually having historical reference. If you look at the studies, all-time highs, guess what they do? They make new all-time highs. Yep. And they continue a lot of the times. Why is it? It's because some traders are not willing to trade these names here. And so I think that you have to know what environment you're in. When you're in an environment that the index themselves are searching for all-time highs, it's okay to be playing stocks at their highs. Sure. Because the environment supports it, right? Now, if we were in a bearish environment, then it wouldn't make sense to look at stocks at all-time high because you're looking at overblown valuations. It's always about a mix between fundamentals, technicals, and the current environment, right? Sometimes fundamentals are going to lead, sometimes technicals are going to lead, and sometimes it's just going to be the overall market. And like they say, right, the tide lifts all boats. Well, that's just the way it works, right? If the ocean comes up another 2 feet, well, guess what? You're coming up with it, regardless if you want to or not, right? So I think in Netflix, what I would be playing is I always go leaders to laggard. I am with you guys. I'm okay with saying, okay, well, I hear you, Mitch, but I can't play these. These are not my personality style of play on Netflix. Okay, so what about Disney here? You just told me about sports, right? Well, isn't Disney doing the same thing? What has happened? Well, NBA's changed, right? NBA is going to be changing this year. You're going to be seeing NBA on Amazon. You're going to be seeing the NBA on probably Netflix. You'll see the NBA on Apple TV. You'll see the NBA on Disney. This is the adjustment that's changing. You're completely right about that, John. But it's not going to be only Netflix that does it, right? And I think that that's what you look for, right? I think Disney's really looking to break out of a 3-year range. 3 years.
Yeah, man. They've been right around
3 years, guys.
I love Disney too, because like one of the things I always talk about with my stream is that if Disney gets down to $80 a share, $90 a share, I'm buying it. The range is so consistent for Disney. Like if you put up Disney here, every single time Disney has gotten, I just took a position in futures. I'm buying the dip right around the 200 exponential at 22.7s, and I might add into this dip.
Let's talk about that right quick. We can go back to Disney if anything. So just focus on the trade right quick.
So we got a lot of support underneath us, 22.7. I might have gotten in a little bit early, but I think that's okay. And so I'm looking to get a quick bounce back up. I think we've pulled back a pretty decent amount, and we still have the China news on the heels. I did see some news recently that just came out. Microsoft's next generation Maya AI chip has reportedly been delayed to 2026 when it was previously thought to come out this year in 2025. So I did see that news just released. One of the things causing market.
Oh yeah, definitely Microsoft. That's it right there.
Yeah, Microsoft's tumbling down right now.
That's causing the pull of the Qs, right?
Yep, and so that's probably what just popped everything down some here.
It's dragging the market for sure.
100%. Microsoft's one of the most heavily weighted stocks in the futures market, or in the indexes here. It's one of the most heavily weighted stocks. It's definitely in the Mag 7.
It's probably like 7% of the S&P 500.
Right. And so I'm going to get out of my long here just because of this right now, because this is making Microsoft tumble. Microsoft, I think, is, let me look at a longer term.
It was near the highs.
Yeah.
If not all-time high. Yeah, all-time high.
100%. And so we'll see.
A little pullback to the 9 EMA would make sense here. Of course, it's just a delay. It's not a cancellation. So think about that, right? It just impacts short-term outlook, not long-term outlook. Of course, Microsoft definitely affecting things. And I think you just got to continue to watch this pullback. I think it definitely gives opportunity. And remember, we're going to chop around here until we make a big day. I think that's what it's going to be, right? There's going to be some chop, trying to get you to overtrade. Then the move happens a lot of the times, right? So for me on the Qs overall, I'm looking for a dip back into yesterday's range. A lot of the times, that's what I've been looking for more and more, guys. Can we test support in the first opening 15 or 30 minutes? Test support in a longer time frame and watch buyers step in. This is what's happened countless times, and this is the pattern that I've been seeing get repeated. I can even show you the pattern just strictly yesterday and exactly how it traded, right? What did we get? first candle goes up to 543.70, right? Right up here, starts to break, right? Now I'll zoom in so you guys can see it like if it was yesterday's action, right? So yesterday's action, what happens? You just go and you say, okay, come back to prior's day range, right? Prior's day range is what I'm always looking for. Undercut back into that range, right? Undercut and go, undercut and go. So in this case, we can just look at the support. Yesterday's action was right around this area here, right around this 547 down towards, you can go as close to the bodies if you want, 546.30s. So we're looking for dips to get bought around the 50 EMA and then for it to start working its way back up, right? And then we've been seeing this strategy work countless times. I mean, so many names doing these undercuts of supports out the gates and then recoveries. This is why you got to be careful the first 30 minutes of the market, guys. Some traders use a 30-minute candle to try to get around this, right? So they're using that 30 minutes. They're specifically looking for supports to that 30 minutes. And then when the 30-minute candle turns green back up, they use that low, which usually could be the intraday low, and then they're risking below the intraday low. What this does is that it allows you to get in a position where you can go ahead and swing a move higher, but what? The market makers can't just attack your stops because the stock hasn't traded there. And so essentially you're putting volume underneath the price action of today. And so that actually helps support the stock. The market maker would need to drive the stock below the intraday low and then collect your volume. This gives you the ability to have a little bit stronger of the probability of getting into the green, where I see a lot of traders put stops right at lows. And what do they get? They get stop hunted.
Right at the bottom. Yeah.
And I can tell you guys that more and more I realize stops are good, guys. They're great because they can protect you, but they shouldn't be where your mental stop is.
Sure.
You get what I mean by that? Like, so I believe in what's called like protective stops, where it's a protection. Hey, some news comes out, I need to be protected. That's okay, right? So it should be far away from your entry, almost a stop that you don't expect to hit at all. This is just protection if the world turns against me, right? Because I agree in that sense that you need to have some type of protection, but also being able to hide your hand like a poker player and being able to take shots when you think it works, when you're looking for it to happen, it does affect the stock. I'm sure you've seen it, John, where you've put out a limit order, the stock is going right to that limit, and as soon as you put out the limit order, it feels like it can't move anymore.
100%.
The stock almost like just halts. It's like, oh, now I know where you want to get out. Now I'm not going to take it there.
Right, for sure. Honestly, it happens so much, man. Like the reality of it is, you know how traders love high of the days and low of the days, bro. Like I don't ever attack those levels. I talked about this earlier, but when I attack,
man, BBLG just did probably like an offering or something, man. This is why you be careful with those smaller names. Holy moly, look at that takedown from 750 to 450 there.
Watch, let me put this up. I can.
Glad that's why you wait for the 8 break back up.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this drop right here. Something happened with news regarding it.
Yeah, that's news related when it drops $3 in less than a second.
Oh yeah, it's a $5 million public offering that they just announced.
Did I just say it? Like, you know, I didn't have to look at the news, guys. That's experience. That takes time. You know that move was definitely some sweet drop. Yeah, if you were short, your eyes just went right, cartoon eyes real quick.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%, and it's retraced back up. So maybe this gets bought up. I haven't messed.
You know
with
why
these
this happens though, right? Because there's no stops.
Sure.
In the pre-market, right? And so what is it? It's just a bunch of spreading out of the spread, trying to wash the traders out. Look how it's already back to 650, right? Like you're just getting scared out, panic out, panic out. That's why in pre-market, you can play these plays, but just stay really, really small. Understand that with the liquidity that you're having, it's very, very difficult. That's why I feel like what you play in the futures makes sense sometimes in the pre-market. If you're seeing a pre-market trend, and at least in the futures, you're not having that same kind of restriction that you have in the open markets.
Yeah, man. Like I like attacking milestone levels, but I don't ever set stops too much. Like an example, if you look at futures below us here, is I like looking at the 200 exponential, which is this blue line right here, and then I look at like a mix of milestone levels. So I did a video about this yesterday, actually. I usually round to major whole dollar levels. So you can see two levels I have on my chart: 750 on the NQ and 700. It just gives you really nice levels, and it makes sense. Why? Because markets typically follow these type of levels, right? So like markets generally want to follow the biggest levels on a specific chart. And so I just have, my biggest issue is being patient and waiting for them to hit. But an example of this is you can see exactly where we bounced 22.7. 750 was reacting a lot to it earlier. And so, you know, we do okay trading just these big milestone levels in futures, but it's been interesting for sure. I haven't really traded a lot of these small cap stocks a ton lately. So Tom's asking, so y'all agree to go long with Netflix? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
I ride it.
I'm not.
Ride the wave.
Yeah, I'm not an investment professional. I have no idea what Netflix is going to do. What I do know is that long term, I like Netflix. Right? Not an investment professional. It might crash tomorrow. I have no freaking idea. Long term, it's almost certainly going to go up. You know, but you never know. You never know. Anything could happen. You know, in the stock market, but long term, I think if it was me, and again, not an investment professional, I'm DCAing into it long term. But yeah, we're not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. But Netflix just makes sense. I think it just makes sense as a company.
Yeah, we can take a look. How's the market still continuing to drop here? And I think we're going to get this little pressure towards the open. It's just psychological pressure towards the open also, right? Sure. So many bulls, right? So the easiest way to scare the bulls is have this downward pressure, right? Especially towards the open. So we'll look at major levels to see if those hold towards the open. And chat, any other stocks you guys want to talk about? We can definitely go anywhere, or maybe it's a sector or a theme. Is it nuclear? Is it software? That's really where a lot of AI is going to. If you guys aren't watching that move, especially Oracle being kind of the leader in that one, definitely a lot of action out there. I can talk themes all day. So if you guys have anything you want to bring up, I've seen some OKLO mentions. So that's definitely into your nuclear trade. I like SMR right now. AMD, that one's I've been all over. I've been all over AMD, man. If you guys haven't watched my Twitter, I've been watching AMD since 116, and it really looks great.
Yeah, bro, it's been riding up that big microchip run. You know, the one thing that I gotta say here though is that you have to wonder if big money knew a deal was going to get announced with China. Right?
Oh, 100%.
Because if you saw what the market did, right, prior to the news today, or late last night, that a China deal was done, basically signed and sealed, Lutnick said earlier. Prior to all this, microchips have been freaking running. They've been running. There hasn't been a lot of big catalysts, but microchips have been flying up. AMD, Nvidia, all these different stocks have just been making these big movements on the upside. And then it's no shock that late yesterday, you know, a trade deal was essentially announced. And so very interesting nuance of markets right now. But you have to question whether big money knew this was coming, right? Like whether this announcement was coming. You know how politicians do as well, right? They front load this stuff. And I think that's what's going on. You know?
Yeah. And I'll be looking to see if we can get a nice run in certain nuclear names. I'm seeing in the chat talk about different names there and asking for different stocks out there that are a part of this kind of play. There's so many, guys. You can look into kind of the smaller nuclear reactors like SMR and NNE, right? Those are going to be your actual players. And then you got your energy movers, right? Your CEGs, your GEV. I know I think I've even mentioned GEV to you in the past, John, and it's just been an absolute outperformer. And I think this is going to continue to do it. The best part about GEV is that it does give you exposure into two different major areas of energy right now. One being, of course, nuclear. But the other one, and why I think GEV has done such great performance, is because of the gas turbines that they offer data centers. So that you can use natural gas to run these huge cooling turbines, right? And that's what's been helping them get a lot of deals, right? Especially now, right? Because it's what you have to be looking at is what company could possibly make money until nuclear really kicks off, because nuclear hasn't really kicked off. It's just been a talk of nuclear, right? And so,
and I've seen you've been talking about this on your Twitter or X page. So Mitch has been calling out nuclear stocks since before they ran.
Yeah, since September of last year.
Yeah.
Since SMR was 850. Just look at SMR now, right? And there's a big part, guys. It's not that I'm some big guru. I pay attention to themes and talks and conversation. Like I talked to you just shortly a while ago about the export controls mentions, right? Who do you hear mentioning about that? Not many people talking about how that was mentioned in the last China deal and could be mentioned in this deal, right? And CEOs, earnings conversations, and things like that. They're going to give you the insight. It's going to be more along, can you derive a small information and make it a thematic trade, right? That was the same thing. It was, what was it? It was, right? It was Oracle started talking about small nuclear reactors really quickly in 2 weeks. What happened? Microsoft itself mentioned it in their earnings call. Once I heard a blue chip stock talk about it, I was like, okay, now it's time to really look at this. This is not just something that you're just throwing it out there, just to throw it out there. This is actually going to build into a bigger theme style trade.
Right. And just to pivot to this really quick. So remember, we talked about the 200 exponential here, guys. Look at that bounce right there at the 200 EMA. This is why I watch these big milestone levels, especially if you can find something like in the futures market or really any market, regardless. Like Mitch is talking a lot about stocks. We like futures, but regardless of which market you're looking at, this same kind of concept makes a lot of sense, right? If you can find two major levels, in this case, we got 22.7, a big whole dollar level, and we have the 200 exponential right there at about 22.7. And so if you guys remember way up here, I was saying, hey, if we dip down to where 22,700, I'm buying it. And I have been buying it. I bought it in my funded account. I just made a little bit of money. I cut the last one just now, and I bought it in my actual combine account as well. So on both sides of that, it makes sense, right? And regardless of whether it keeps going down, this is just in terms of day trading. Like just in terms of day trading, it doesn't matter if it keeps going down now, because this is a multiple tick move on the upside, right? This looks like about 25 ticks up. A lot of room to take profit there. 25 ticks is plenty of room. And yeah, this is a 5-minute chart. You put up a 1-minute chart here. You can kind of see I rode most of this move up right around 22.7 on a, again, the 200 exponential I'm looking at is on a 5-minute chart, just to clarify. A lot of the time I look at it on one, but you can see exactly where we bounce right there. And now we have this big retracement candle. So it just makes sense. We have 10 minutes until the opening bell, chat. 10 minutes.
Yeah, I also like here that it took about 5 minutes to bottom. This is one thing that I've been seeing more and more, is if you really kind of use the 5 minute with the one, wait till you see that kind of bottoming action start to show up on the one, and then just look at your 5 minute candle there. You see how the bodies are getting smaller? It's three bodies, but it got smaller each time. That's another sign that the momentum is slowing down here. So then you can use the first body, the wick there, and then start to wait for it to get back above that, right? That's going to give you your bullish engulfing look right there, right? You see how that matches, those two lines match up? Right. So a lot of times what I'm looking for is, if you can give me that bullish engulfing look, just come back to that line, right? It can't dip through that line that you just drew. So at this point, you at least know where your direction's up is higher, right? And below that line, that bullish engulfing look, if it goes below that, you're going to test probably the lows again. So it gives you the ability to now tighten down on your risk management, right? Now you 100%. Know where the bottom is. Now you can really take the ride. And if anything, you know where your step up is. Your step up is through that resistance line. And then you can maybe be adding there and holding break even and trying to push into the momentum, right? A good looking trade here.
Yeah, man. You just got to wait for this edge. The hardest part in trading is just waiting for this stuff, Patience. Like it's hard to not trade.
Patience, young grasshoppers.
Yeah. And look at Microsoft. So Microsoft had this news with the Gaia chips getting delayed, or the Maya chips, getting delayed. And we gapped down pretty significantly. And I think Microsoft's going to lead the NASDAQ some here as well. I think if Microsoft does a move in which it goes down, rebounds, and then continues down, we're going to see a sharp decline back down to this level here. If Microsoft ends up filling some of the gap down that it just made on the upside up here, then obviously we could really easily see a rebound back up to start testing 750s or wherever really So it just depends. But yeah, we're getting close.
Yeah, what I think will happen a lot of the times is so sometimes you'll get, it's called like the ETF effects, right? Where if a major component is selling off like Microsoft, right, the ETF has to do something, right? It has to rebalance. So a lot of times you'll start to see some defensive names in the queues actually trickle higher as the Microsoft comes down. And then as soon as Microsoft actually starts to bounce, you'll see these defensive names actually come back down. It's like this weird rotation that happens, guys. They're called ETF effects. Really start researching a little bit more about them, especially you future traders. This can help you. This information does play into it. So I would be looking into that, about how that rotation happens when one major component is dragging something, others start to go higher.
Right. And again, another big thing to come out today, guys. So we have more economic reports dropping today. We have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment and Inflation Expectation Report going live at 10 a.m. We're going to cover this as we always do. But again, a big University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment and Inflation Expectation Report going live 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today. So we got to wait for that report to come out, and we'll see if it ticks higher or lower, or see what happens with that report. But the last time, I think we got some pretty good data. I think most experts are thinking that we are going to ease a little bit for inflation. And I know they thought that this morning, and then PCI ticked higher for core PCE, or PCE ticked higher for core at least. So, I'm curious to see what the University of Michigan Inflation Expectation Report is. Let me make sure we don't have any other reports going live today.
I think what's going to be interesting is with the PCE report that came in, one thing that I was looking to see is if we were going to see the consumer numbers at least adjust. And of course, that's one of the biggest concerns is what's going to happen to the consumer and the annual inflation moving forward. I was really hoping to see a slight tick down there.
Me too, man. I was thinking we would. Yeah, like somebody got mad at me for shorting after PCE came out.
Yeah.
But I thought we would come in lower than this for PCE, and so when I saw us come in higher, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to short, because this pushes back rate cut expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like with higher inflation, the Fed has less of a green light to cut rates, so they need low inflation to cut rates. So yeah, we ended up ticking down, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was viewing this as stock wise for like retail stocks, like apparel stocks, like footwear stocks, right? Like we saw Nike get a big jump, right? So part of what can support them is consumer sentiment starting to adjust, right? As we go to all-time highs, what normally happens is all bearish thesis, they start to get pushed out, right? So even like the consumer sentiment dropping and consumers not spending starts to drop, that thesis starts to take a hit as we hit all-time highs. So I'm looking to see if this start to raise some of these apparel and footwear names. Right. So Nike got a huge jump. I'm sure you guys saw that. Right. And then we'll be taking a look to see if maybe it applies to some other names. Right. Does Crocs start moving and others?
Microsoft coming back up, filling this gap a little bit, and you can kind of see the NASDAQ follow it up. It's not a huge move. I mean, it went up from like 495.25 to almost 496. And as I'm saying that, look at this big retracement candle on a 1-minute chart. So we are coming back down here. We have about 4.5 minutes until the opening bell.
Yeah. I think you might get an attempt to where it goes to like, at least for Microsoft, 493.50s. That's going to be real kind of closer towards your support. And it seems perfectly fine as long as it's not breaking through like, let's say 490s today. And when you think about it, for the news being what it is, that's a very small hit on Microsoft, right? Like just overall, even at the bottom there, what are you talking? Less than 1%. On that headline, that tells me it doesn't really care about that headline. It took a hit, right? Because it's a negative headline, but it doesn't really care about it.
Yeah, this whole move, just to calculate the percentage, is only about, let me see, so 93 up to 96. Not even quite that much, but we'll call it that. So yeah, so 93 to 96 is a little bit less than 1%. What is that, like 0.75%? And so it's a very small move. Or no, this is a $500 stock, so it's even less than that. It's like 0.6.
Like 0.6, 0.7 of a percent. So as long as it's not that over, like let's say a 4 or 5% move on a big stock, then you're like, okay, yeah, worries out there.
It's problems.
Yeah,
for sure.
And last thing before I get out of here, I know that some people are talking about Circle. I know the market's going to come here, but Circle definitely interesting conversation. Another conversation that's really interesting right now is kind of the CoreWeave deal that's trying to happen. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, CRWV, right? Yeah, CRWV.
So CoreWeave is trying to make a deal also with another high flyer that's moving right now. And that's going to be your CORZ. So Core Scientific surged 35% on potential takeover from CoreWeave. The interesting part of this is, and this is where I tell you guys, I like to pay attention to more of the theme and the underworking of this trade. So the reason why CoreWeave wants this is that this was a Bitcoin miner that pivoted to AI infrastructure. So essentially changing their hardware to focus on something else, right? They have all these graphic cards, they have all these CPU, it's all this computing. Well, why not adjust it and go for something that's actually bringing them returns? So that's what CoreWeave did. And I would look to start seeing other mining companies like Mara, CleanSpark, all those types of names start to mention more conversations of that. Right.
And whoa, look at Microsoft. So just to cover this real quick, Microsoft just ripped all the way back up. It almost looks catalyst driven. It just hit 499. So we are actually like over where the news came out. And what's strange is that the market's coming back down. Yeah, sorry. I know.
It shook it, man. It shook it, right? Man, we're seeing it. So your trade, it could looking better there. We'll see if the Qs kind of gets that jump there.
Sure.
I'm looking to see if there's any Trump comments, right? A Trump tweet.
Always, brother. Always. You gotta watch out.
You see the market moves, you know.
Yeah, it's been wild for him. Usually you gotta check like truth.
They're trying to finish the China deal right now. The intern's getting yelled at. He's like, dude, you were supposed to have this by 9 a.m.
Yeah, for sure. I doubt we got Fed's Cook speaking right now, but they didn't comment on monetary policy. You always got to watch these Fed speakers too. Bassett speaking right now. He's going to be at the Senate GOP lunch today. But we got less than a minute before the opening bell.
All right, guys. I don't want to take over your stream here talking stocks when you're on the future games. I know how that can be, but it's good to see you guys out in the chat there. I saw a couple of you guys, like always, dropping in some stocks, dropping in some conversation. I always love the beginner trading family. If you guys don't know,
Mitch used to work with me here. He used to own a piece of it.
You got to be part of the beginner trading family.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Look, I got coins, man. You got coins?
Oh, I still have the coins from what's his name? Was it Eric? I still got the coins too, bro.
You got to put these back out there. You got to let the guys do a little giveaway or something. I should, we're gonna have to bring these back, man.
It's been a while. Since
I still have mine too. I'm known as Mitch Guys Hotch.
Yeah, 100%. You know the OG days,
man.
the OG days. Y'all go give Mitch a follow. At here, I'll put his socials up. There's the bell.
Get after
if you want to stick around for the open, Mitch, you can.
Yeah,
but if not,
I'll stick around. I'll let you guys know what I see. I'll let you run the show for right now, and I'll let you guys know if I see anything moving or leading.
Yeah, I'm looking at Nvidia. Nvidia up to 156 right now. Look at Nvidia. So Nvidia dropped a lot at the open and then retraced back up. I'm not going to trade right now. I'm going to wait. I'm not trading this. This is a little too crazy. I'm going to let 5-10 minutes pass first. But look at Nvidia. Nvidia up to 156. Remember, the all-time highs on Nvidia, which is going to deeply influence price action in futures, is 157. So right there, if you can see that on the top right chart, 157 is the all-time high. Nvidia up to 156.50 right now, 156.50. So if this gets balled up and Nvidia starts to make a run towards 157, it's going to influence everything. And you know, Meta's pushing up. Microsoft is a little quiet at the opening bell. Apple's been quiet too, honestly. Apple hasn't been moving. It's been in a very sideways range, even with the news. I would assume Apple benefits from the U.S.-China deal more than anybody, but not necessarily the case. Apple's been quiet. It's green on the day, though. But look at this opening buy push come in. Here goes Nvidia. So Nvidia might break all-time highs. It's currently at 156.70 and 156.90s. 156.70 just tapped it. Look, here's the all-time high on Nvidia. Look, I don't usually buy it like this. I'm going to take one micro contract just because I think Nvidia is going to at least test all-time highs. So we'll see.
Big mover in AEVA. I don't know if you guys have heard about that automation stock. That stock just keeps going.
Yeah. And Nvidia went up, tapped all-time highs, and then had this big rejection there. Big rejection. So just be careful, guys. Be careful. I don't know what's going on.
A lot of red to start the day, at least from opening actions.
100%, yeah.
SMR, probably the best trade of the day, guys. I nailed that on Monday. It's ripping right now.
Well, yeah.
That's a nuclear name, right? And there's a supposed deal coming out trying to support this. So good pop here right out the gates here towards 41.
Right. Yeah, that opening pop is getting bought up. It's kind of wild. Nvidia's starting to make a move to test these highs, though. Let's see if it continues. There it goes. Might buy this up. I don't know yet. I want to see if Nvidia makes this move up to test. That's what I want to see.
Looking for an undercut on SMR or NNE through the VWAP. Something to come get back there.
Speaking of Apple, Apple got all the way up to 202.70s right now. So Apple has been one of the moves that's been flying at the opening bell. Nvidia looks to tap that all-time high and then just come right back down here. So right back down in this all-time high.
Will Nvidia do the buy at perplexity? I think that's the real call.
Sure. Big if for sure.
I think they should. I actually was talking about it on my stream before the deal rumors came out. I said that's what they need to do.
Start acquisitions, man. Start buying up
acquisition of an AI name, and then start really focusing on the Apple Vision Pro.
Right.
Really focusing, make it to the point where it makes the PS5 and the Xbox look like, and to be to be nice about it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
If you can do that, you'll change all the gaming landscape, and things can really start adjusting.
Right, and here goes Nvidia starting to, it went up there, it rejected deeply here.
Yeah, I'm looking around, a lot of action off of that Apple, but not much other names. I'm looking around on the queues.
Sure, yeah.
Amazon
Apple's driving. Yeah, Apple and Amazon driving this move up. Nvidia's starting to creep up there, but it's still got a ways. So
with Amazon, I like Shop. So I'll look to see if Shop can go higher here.
Right. And again, we're in the landscape of the U.S.-China trade deal, so I would assume we're going to have some buying pressure. We're kind of mixed because of bad inflation data, but it's very possible. It's very possible. We'll see if we get some pops up here. Might take a little time, though. But Nvidia is what you want to watch. Nvidia is honestly very stagnant, but Microsoft is also another big one.
All right, guys, taking a little starter here in Shop. So looking to go ahead and ride this Shop wave with Amazon.
Right.
Took a little long there.
I'm going to prep the stream for the Michigan consumer sentiment.
Michigan.
Yeah. That Mitch consumer sentiment report.
Yeah, because I just sit around and do surveys all day.
Yeah, that's what honestly they're wild too with some of their predictions, but it does influence the market, right? Like they're wild with some of their predictions. They're crazy with some of them, but we're still gonna cover it. But still, just be careful based off.
No, it's how it is, man. It definitely moves the markets. Now, would I agree that it should move the market? I mean, that's up to you guys.
That's a different story. Yeah,
that's a different story. All right, guys. Here's Shop at least trying to lift through the 114. I'm trying to get it through that 114, and I'll be actually deep, kind of really starting to push into the green here.
Sure. So we did PCE. Very flat open though, man. The market hasn't really done too much.
Really not done much at all, guys. So just be careful out there, right? Just nice wick at the opening candle, right? Qs went down there. Didn't actually get back into yesterday's range. It tried to get close to that. So it wasn't that far off of it, but we're starting to come back here. We're pretty much unchanged from the open. Let's see if we take 548 in the Qs. MSTR reversing back to the upside, maybe looking at Bitcoin starting to have a little bit of a day. I'll have to look into the actual Bitcoin, but
Yeah, for sure.
Palantir straight down out the gates. Yeah, you're getting some momentum names to pull back out the gates here. That's for sure. Some momentum cracking.
Right. Still creeping up though, man. Look, oh man, look at Palantir dump. The problem with Palantir is the PE ratio, as well as it's a defense stock, and so with the truce overseas, they're going to do a little bit worse just because they're defense related. But man, look at this pop. So we're moving up a little bit.
AMD continuing, man.
Yeah. AMD and Nvidia. So Nvidia is starting to creep up there. It's really close to that all-time high. All-time high on Nvidia right now is 157. We're at 156.50. So we're 50 cents away. And yeah, you're right. AMD is flying up. It's at 156 right now.
Looking good in the shop trade, guys. Let's go. Let's make some money today, guys.
Yep. Oh, wait. Here, let me put your trade up. Let me throw that up there if you're in something. Oh, I got AMD up right now. Oh, you got AMD up, I mean.
Oh, I got you here. Yeah. You'll see the trade on the bottom, too. You just can't see it with the text there, but I can bring it up so you guys can see it, at least.
There you go.
I show it all.
Yeah, yeah. Big rip here, too, man. Look at the NASDAQ rip. Shop.
So what did Shop do? I talk about the strategy right beforehand, right? Undercut of support, recovery of VWAP, now going strong.
Mitch's X handle is
Money Mitch underscore TTP.
Yeah, I got you here. I'll post it.
Yeah, I got you. If anything, I don't know if I can jump in the chat, but
yeah, here I got you. It's right there. You guys do a great combo. That's because Mitch is the OG guest, or not the OG guest. He's the OG partner here. You know, him and I have done a lot of streams together. A lot of streams, bro.
A lot of streams, man. They gotta look in the go to the beginner trading channel whenever you get a chance and just hit oldest videos.
Yeah, 100%. You'll see.
You might find this guy with a hat.
Yeah.
All right, guys, looking good here. Now I'm really starting to get Shop to try to get going through that 114.20s, right? So at this point, I can actually even go ahead and set a green stop, right? So I tell you guys about not setting your stop, but it's okay once you get to the position of strength. At this point, I'm in the position of strength. I won't lose on this position. I'm actually going to just set it at the break even right now and just try to let it go. Right? Try to let this just rip through the 115 here. I'm up about 54, right? If it goes through that, I'm over 100. If it doesn't, I'll get out, reassess, get back in.
Yes, sir. And then look at the NASDAQ flying up here, man. So
Amazon would be the one name that I'd want to see rip towards like 222.
Yeah.
Right? And so you play the relationship game. I didn't catch Amazon on the move. I shop trade with it. Let's go.
Yeah, I appreciate the love, guys. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Again, in 20 minutes, we got the University of Michigan.
Yeah, that's definitely shake things up a little bit.
Yeah. And again, I told Mitch he can come on stream whenever he wants. Him and I talked about it, so he might come on stream a couple times a week.
Yeah, guys. So what I'm really good at, right? And I'll tell you guys it right here. It's looking into the sectors and the industries, right? And that's why I find trades a lot of the time. So like, let's say from the open today, consumer cyclical doing well. What did I talk about? How maybe this actually affects retail. And I just got a little stop hunt there in Shop. It definitely came back down to the 113 area. That's probably where I'd rebuy it, 113s, but it's pulling back right now. We'll see if I can get that 113 entrance here. Right. As we do get the pull back there.
Yeah, there's a big dip and then a big buy up of the dip here and a retracement back up.
Footwear accessories leading a lot of the action. Apparel is also, I wanted to take a look at to see if this would get apparel started. So A&F was the name that I had watched and I had put on alert. So there it is. A&F, big move there, guys. Big move in A&F. So I'm going to actually look for that to kind of work out here. This actually looks really good there. A&F starting to get going. Urban had a really nice setup, so I'll see if that can turn around. Nike's doing well. Crocs is another one that I wanted to look at today, just based on Nike's earnings on. Also, undercut of support, now back above VWAP. All names that I could look at.
Sure. And yeah, sorry, Carol's coming in here trying to talk to me. I would have had Carol say hey to you, Mitch, but she's dealing with AC people right now.
No worries. That's already enough to deal with that.
Yeah, bro. We just got we got one of our ACs replaced, dude. It's so expensive, bro. So I'm still mad about it, honestly.
Yeah, I know how it can be.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Right back in here in Shop, guys. I'm right back in. I'm gonna go ahead and risk about $40 here. off of the bottom, about 112.70s, right? So I got out, but willing to get back in. This is what most traders are not willing to do.
Right. And some of my best trades are trades when I get out in the futures market and then jump right back in. Like something changes and I'm like, okay, I'm getting right back in.
Adjust, know where your levels need to be, and get back
100%.
in. There's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly.
All right,
you're
guys,
right at that volume weighted average price too for shop. So maybe get that VWAP bounce.
Q's holding well for you, right? I think for you NASDAQ traders, that's looking decent right there. Sectors starting to get into the green that you want to see continue. There's about 4 in the red, right? We have 11 sectors here, 4 in the green from the open. And I pay attention a lot at what happens from the open, not necessarily what happened overnight.
Right. And yeah, I'm looking at the only problem I have with markets right now is I see Nvidia up here, and I think Nvidia is going to move markets a lot. It's gotten really close to all-time highs, and then it's come right back down. Now, it is at the 200 exponential right now. So if we can get some support build up at the 200 EMA on the Nvidia chart, that might help. Watching AMD as well, because I just think microchips are moving things right now for sure. Microsoft has been really stagnant. Apple ran at the opening bell and then came all the way back down to 202 currently, but it also is kind of at like a buy level. I'm not saying buy it, but it's at a level where traders are going to say, hey, maybe we got some extension. Let's try to maybe buy it up and look at Nvidia on this right side here. So it's starting to do some stuff as well.
All right, we'll see if we can really get this going. I'm seeing MSTR hot today. HIMS I saw in the chat mentioned that that's actually doing pretty decent, up about 3%. Definitely a rebounding type of day for that name. AMAT pushing stronger, telling me more and more these semiconductor equipment stocks, these tech names really holding up the market.
Right, for sure. Yeah, we got about 15 minutes until consumer sentiment and inflation expectations report. I do have the updated information here on what they're expecting for this inflation expectation and consumer sentiment report we got going on today. So just to put this into perspective, they are expecting today 1-year inflation expectations for June are expected at 5.1%. And the reason this moves markets is because a lot of the reports we cover here, like GDP yesterday, are lagging. Like GDP yesterday came in at minus 0.5%. It is a lagging report. It's covering Q1, January through March of 2025, came in at negative 0.5%. University of Michigan consumer sentiment data, they're surveys, but they're currently expecting 5.1% for 1-year inflation expectations, which again, I think is kind of wild, right? Last time they had it at 6.6% though. And so they use a little bit different metrics to calculate this. 5-year inflation expectations for June are expected at 4.1%. So basically they think we're going to have high inflation, probably from the tariff impact, and then it's going to slow down as time goes on. Consumer sentiment is probably one of the bigger, more influential parts of this report. It is expected for June at 60.5. Last time it was 52.2. So a little bit higher consumer sentiment is expected today relative to the last report, which came out 2 weeks ago. Now, remember, this is the prelim version of this report, right? So you get 2 halves of this report. You get prelim and then the finalized numbers. Today is the finalized numbers for consumer sentiment. Last time it came in at 60.5. Today they're expecting 60.5. So we'll see what we show up as. Circle is getting hammered. Yeah, Circle coming all the way down to 208.
Yeah, that's a tough trade, man. I think it was fun to play it right out the gates, but now playing it on the downside, it's pretty tough up here. The spread is what will get you a lot of the times in a name like that.
Right, for sure.
So you have to be so small that you almost have to look for bigger moves, right? Because if you're big, you're going to get spread hunted. And trust me, no one loves to give up a lot of money really quickly.
Nobody. Yeah, nobody wants that.
Nobody loves to give it up, man. And that's a name that, yeah, you can make 20, 40, 50, 60,000. You see all those trades, right? But then at the same time, it can also wreck you really quickly.
For sure. And one of the interesting concepts right now is so Nvidia broke under that 200 exponential. It's down at 155.70s. Yet the NASDAQ is still pushing up. It's at 22,740 right now. Circle's still dropping. Apple's very flat. Microsoft is even more flat. Meta's been pretty green since the opening bell. Let's see what we talked about earlier. Netflix. Netflix is pretty flat too. It went down a little bit at the open and now it's back up. It's at 1,300 or so, 1,308. But if Nvidia starts to break down here, we could have a retracement. But as of now, the Nasdaq is pushing up.
Yeah, Ethereum not
Trending
holding
higher.
up well. That's one thing that I'm noticing out there, just looking into Bitcoin and stuff like that. I wanted to see Bitcoin start to play catch up to the all-time highs.
Sure. Yeah, Bitcoin really reacting to some of this stuff. It's 107, 340s right now. So maybe the higher inflation data, maybe. I don't know. When is Netflix going to split? I think they're going to split sometime this year, in my opinion. I think it's time for them to split. I mean, anytime a stock gets over 1,000 a share, a split becomes more likely just because it makes it more affordable by splitting. And they want more people to be able to afford shares. And Netflix at 1,300 a share is pretty high.
Yeah, it definitely affects the stock, right?
Yeah.
And also it limits also the action though. When you do that split, you're gonna bring it down to where it gets a little more volatile. Like CMG, I don't think was too happy about their split.
Chipotle, yeah.
They're not too happy about their split. The stock is still looking decent, but ever since they did the split, look how it was the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So splits don't always work out in your favor, right? And so I think that, yeah, I there you go. Pew pew, my man in the chat. I didn't even see your message, but someone touch Chipotle that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly my thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Chipotle, man. I like Chipotle too. You know, I eat at Chipotle regularly, you know.
Yeah, I actually been going to Tijuana Flats a little bit more lately.
What is that, bro? I've been to Houston. I don't know if we have any near me.
I don't know. They got Tijuanas over there. That's a Florida thing, maybe.
Is it like a? Is
It's
it
like a Mexican restaurant, just like the same
Gotcha.
thing. It
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be the same thing, and just
Right,
a little bit more Mexican than American Mexican.
right. I like. There's a really good place here called El Rey. It's a Cuban Mexican place.
El Rey.
Yeah, yeah, very good.
All
If
right.
you ever go to Houston, go to El Rey. Really good enchiladas.
El Rey. You
Yeah.
hear it first here, guys.
Yeah.
Houston has to have some good Mexican. I mean,
100%. Yeah, they have very good food here. Very good food. It's a little shack though. If you go to El Rey, it's a little bitty shack, but it's really good.
hey, the shacks are sometimes the place where it get.
100%. Agree.
Might not feel the best the next day, but it goes down really good.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I love Mexican food. That's probably my favorite food ever. If I could eat it every day, I would. Yeah.
All right,
okay.
tough day. At least
baby.
I think
Here,
this
baby.
is just
Hey,
showing you
Carol.
more and more stock
you're
pickers
hitting.
environment, man. Stock pickers environment for sure.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes before the Michigan data here, chat. Somebody saying this channel is becoming a talk show. Oh, get out of here, brother. You guys know me. I talk about jiu-jitsu pretty often here. You know, I bug everybody with my jiu-jitsu
Right?
content.
You guys haven't heard me challenge John yet.
Oh, dude, you're getting
At
choked
least
out,
once per stream.
I don't know. I got my blue belt now, so I'm happy.
Okay.
I got my blue belt a few days ago, or a few months ago.
I remember I tapped out a green belt on my first day of jiu-jitsu. I didn't last long. I didn't go to top team for more than a week, but
That's cool. Yeah.
I could compete. I could compete.
Yeah. It's fun, bro. It really is.
It's mainly first learning technique, just like it is in trading, right? I mean, at first it's just learn, right? Take a bunch of it in, then
first
practice.
You just get beat up, is what I always say. It's very similar to trading in that regard. You get beat up for the first 3 months. Everybody taps you out, and then you start to do good. You know.
I mean, you start to calm down in the action, right?
Right.
I think you've probably started to learn a little bit more of that, of how I can stay calm.
You gotta learn to breathe. Yeah.
Yeah. Same 100%. Thing with trading, though. Right. Same thing with trading.
100%.
You gotta be patient, calm, breathe, not overreact. Right. Take your shots when you see them, right? The same way it is in jiu-jitsu, but that's how trading is too.
Right. 100%.
You try to set it up, look for the setup, and go.
Yeah. When you see guys, go. We got 9 minutes until Michigan data. 9 minutes. We'll see what we get. But yeah, Mitch is right. 100%. A lot of correlations, honestly.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys, sitting in the green here. I'm probably going to go ahead and start heading for the door. I got another show I got to get off to, but Apple's doing really well. I like that call out, John. I've been watching Apple. I think that this is the one stock that some bigger traders are going to start sizing into, because if there is a China deal, that's how you get Apple back up to 100%. All-time highs.
Carol just put this up. Hey, baby, you might want to get out the way. I'll share the stream. Hold on, Mitch. Carol just put this up right here in my office. Look at that up there. It's me.
Hey, let's
We
go.
got the bear, and then we got me up there in my attire.
Oh, I love it,
Yeah.
love it, guys. And hey, John, you continue doing your thing, man. I've been
Hey, thank you,
watching you
brother.
grow since the very beginning, man. I'm gonna continue watching you, man, and keep pushing forward. I
Thanks,
love what you
brother.
do for everyone out there, and you guys definitely. John's been doing this now. What we're on, like
Years.
year 9, year
Yeah,
10,
something
coming
like
up
that.
real soon, guys.
100%. Yeah.
So I look forward to me coming on a little bit more. I'll bring in some stock conversation. And if you guys want me to bring in specific strategies on how I go about things, I can always bring it. I wish you guys the best of luck. Have a good trading day. Stay safe.
Thanks,
keep
brother.
learning. And remember that it always mixes together the futures and the equities games. And you could be
100%.
using certain accounts. Like I go on, have my own, stock trading prop action evals, just like you guys are doing evals. There's nothing wrong with hedging.
Sure.
There's
100%.
nothing wrong with letting one account win, right? I feel like sometimes too many people try to play too one-sided in the market.
100%.
Take care, guys. Have a great one. See you next time. Trade
next
the pool.
time, bro. Appreciate it. Have a good day, dude. All right, guys. So that's Mitch. Again, Mitch is an OG here at Beginner Trading. He really is. He's been here, a long time. All right, look at Apple. Apple's starting to rise up. It's at 203s. We got 7 minutes before the Michigan data. 7 minutes. Yeah. We're at 750s now. Yeah, we're still heading up very big. And again, Nvidia is bouncing back too. So Nvidia got down to 155 here. Amazon running. Yeah, we can take a look at Amazon. Apple running back up to that high of the day. 221s, 221s. Again, we got 5 minutes until the Michigan data goes live. 5 minutes. The market hasn't been paying as much attention to PCE as well. Next week, we got a whole bunch of stuff, though. Next week, we got like JOLTS, ADP, non-farm data, ISM services, payrolls, all that kind of good stuff. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Market's closed Friday next week. So again, I'll put the expectations up here at the bottom. Expected at 60.5 for 10 a.m. today. 1 year. 1 year inflation expectations are currently at 5.1%. 5 year. 5 year at 4 point what percent? What is that? 4.1%. All right, so there's the expectational number here. NASDAQ pumping up. We're over 750s. Amazon ripping up. Apple ripping up. Nvidia rebounding back up here. And, yeah, still making some moves. Again, consumer sentiment and inflation data, 10 a.m. Let's see what that shows up as. Look at the NASDAQ rip, Amazon ripping, Nvidia ripping. Meta's pushing up. It's at 234s for Meta, 234s. So Meta's flying up too. Wow. The question is, does Nvidia make another move towards all-time highs? I don't know. Today's the 27th. See if we push higher here. It's a big red candle though. Or a big green candle. I mean, let's see if we dip down. You might start buying in on this pullback here. We have 2.5 minutes left. Bitcoin's still pretty quiet here. Microsoft's pretty quiet as well. First move is the wrong move. Visa seems to be rebounding. Anything over 4% is crazy high after Michigan data heading out. Hey, good luck, bro. All right, we're getting very close. Let's see if Amazon or Nvidia bounce here. And again, I'm trading on Top Steps funded account program. We got a minute and a half left. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, Russell, gold, currencies, and futures. Most day traders lose money. You put up your own money, you're probably going to lose. And so instead, you can try Top Step, limited risk, similar reward to funding. You're in a kind of 90% split. They pay out millions, fund thousands. It's just a great way to learn when most day traders lose money. And so again, I'll put the link up one more time. If you want to check them out. You can also see it pinned at the top of the chat. But again, they're an affiliate of mine, so I'm biased. Here we go. We got 1 minute left. Let's see what the data shows here. Market's ripping up here ahead of this report. We got 45 seconds. All right, 30 seconds, chat. 30 seconds. All right, 10 seconds roughly, give or take. Right around 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the report. All right, guys. So the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report came in lower than expected for inflation expectations and higher than expected for consumer sentiment. Again, lower than expected inflation expectations, higher than expected consumer sentiment data. And yeah, that's where we are now. Lower than expected consumer sentiment data, higher than expected, higher than expected consumer sentiment, lower than expected inflation data. We showed up at 5% versus 1 year, 5.1% expected. 5 years showed up at 4% versus 4.1% expected. Consumer sentiment showed up at 60.7 versus 60.5 expected. And the NASDAQ has been pushing up. Nvidia is getting very close to all-time highs here on this report as well. So we're getting up there. Again, consumer sentiment showed 60.7. 60.7 here, chat. So higher than expected. Up to, market just broke highs of the day. Got up to 790s here, chat. So better than expected, and the market did just break highs of the day. see if this continues to drag the market higher. But again, as you can see, market's going higher. The all-time high depends on which platform you look at. On Top Step X, the all-time high that I'm showing here is right around 790. I'm sorry, is right around. I think it's. Let me go back. I'm showing the all-time highs right around 870s. We're at 780s, so we're about $90 away. Is what I'm showing. But you can also, if you look at like TOS as another example, and you pull up the NQ, which TOS, the difference is that it doesn't look. I guess on the Nasdaq it doesn't matter. TOS is showing the all-time high just broke. And again, Nvidia is one that I'm curious to see what it does here. So we're pushing higher here. But again, I'll put this data up on screen for the University of Michigan data. I also put up, if you follow me on X at Beginner Trades, we do have an updated version of this. Yeah, so here's this data right here for the U.S. University of Michigan sentiment report. There's all the data right there. And again, this is what's driving the NASDAQ higher, in my opinion. This is what's pushing us a little bit higher here. How can they be different? Because most platforms have different price data. It just depends on which one you look at. But most people considered us breaking all-time highs the other day, which would make the new all-time highs 22,793. And now, again, it depends on... Like, I can look at Yahoo Finance. And if I put up a max chart here, it's showing that we're breaking all-time highs now. And so, yeah, it depends on which one you look at. So basically, this would be all-time highs right here at 22.8. So we hit all-time highs. There's one of them. I want to see. Okay, no, that's not it. 2. No, that's not it either. 3. I might buy a little dip here if we get it. See if we retest these all-time highs, just because these are all-time highs levels, so they're they're kind of a big milestone zone, and we might be able to pull up by like a pullback into it. There we go. There we go. It ripped up, but it didn't quite hold. Rub something here, though. Michigan data was better than expected slightly, though. Very slightly. All right, there we go. Take some off here. Cut it. Make a little bit. All right, guys. And again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, currencies. Most day traders lose money. And so if you put up your own money, let's just be real here, you're probably going to lose. Instead, try Top Step. They give you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. The base one's $50 a month. It's not the end of the world if you lose. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split, and they pay out millions, fund thousands. Just a great way to learn when most day traders lose money. Learning in that structured environment makes sense, and if you're good enough to pass it, 90% split, you get to keep your first 10K in profit prior to that split kicking in. And that's similar to funding your own account, so it's the best of both worlds. They pay out hundreds of millions. If you use my link, go to Top Step X, you get 0 commission, no PDT roll. You can find the link in the description as well as pinned at the top of the chat. NASDAQ is consistently breaking all-time highs here. Yeah, this is mostly all the big reports done for today. Yeah, next week we got a whole gang of stuff too, so we'll see how that goes. But again, market's giving us these all-time highs here. I'm probably just gonna cut out though, guys. Hey, listen, I love you all. Y'all have a good day. Y'all be safe in markets, and I'll see you guys later. Good luck. Remember, I'm not an investment professional. Let me throw this up on screen real quick just for protection. Understand all this stuff. Can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose money. Good luck. I love you all. Have a great day. Be safe this weekend. Have a safe weekend, guys. I'll see you guys a little bit later on. Good luck.